Warrior Lore. Chapter 1237. Cleanse. Chapter 1237. Cleanse. Proofreader. Papatonks. What? Everyone was baffled, even Bali Yuyu. By Zhua Fan's choice. Didn't he always love Chu Qingqing? Why? Zhua Fan walked before Bali Yuyu and sighed as he gave her the life stick. There's no need for you to stay in hell because of me. Go back. You're giving me life because you owe me? Her big eyes watched him. Zhua Fan shook his head. No, that intention might have been before, but now I truly want you to live, just because the heart chooses to. Bali Yuyu looked at the peak saint with questioning eyes. He is sincere. The saint judged. Bali Yuyu bit her lip and looked at Chu Qingqing as she held her own death stick. I understand what you're thinking. Even though you want to die, I will respect your decision. Both hearts agree. The deal is concluded. The saint spoke. Zhua Fan smiled and patted Bali Yuyu's shoulder, taking her death stick and walking to Chu Qingqing. Bali Yuyu's eyes teared up. Xiaofeng was baffled. What's up with them? Why did he yearn for the death stick more than his life? Insatiable fools like you could never understand life and death? The peak saint sneered at them. Then he flashed next to Chu Qingqing and Zhua Fan, his huge palm hovering overhead. Having chosen death, this palm shall destroy you. Zhua Fan hugged Chu Qingqing with a peaceful expression. Will you regret us dying? It matters not when neither life nor death can part us. Chu Qingqing smiled back, then sighed. I just feel a bit of loss since I don't know where I came from. I had someone look into it. We'll know it soon, if we survive. Since death doesn't matter, neither does anything else as I'm with you. Chu Qingqing muttered. Boom. The huge palm slammed down, the two vanishing in a flash of bright light. Dead. Everyone watched them vanish. Then Zhao Qin shrugged. I came to the Nether Sea yet got nothing for my troubles, losing instead my genius aid. Crack. Xiaofeng's clenched his fists. I have it much worse than you. Do you have any idea how much Chu Qingqing was worth? The ancient and fragmented records of the sacred mountains say that she could become a sovereign. It's an utter loss letting her die here in the Nether Sea. I shouldn't have brought her. I thought she might be of help searching for a sovereign's domain, but Xiaofeng flicked his sleeve and left. Bali Yuyu watched the two vanish with a bitter smile. The peak saint called out before she went as well. Wait, what is it? Bali Yuyu frowned. Tao is descending and the end of days is nigh. The only hope lies with Zhua Fan. Seeing your sincerity towards him, I can trust you. The Nether Sovereign wishes to ask you if you will help him. He's still alive? Bali Yuyu cheered. Zhua Fan and Chu Qingqing appeared back on the stone platform, with the Nether Sovereign watching the couple with a nod. Living fear death, but that is mere regret of the things they have to give up by dying, the things they couldn't do. Letting go of everything makes life and death meaningless. Zhua Fan, you passed the last test. Thank you, Sovereign, for your wisdom. Zhua Fan bowed. Only, aren't you worried that I was certain you wouldn't kill me? The Nether Sovereign raised an eyebrow. Kill you? Did you really think I never thought of it? Except for the three guardians, the other testers were Zhua Yifan from your heart, and that peak saint. None of them have ever gone easy on you. By failing to grasp the tyrannical path, you wouldn't have passed the first trial. You took on his fist intent and, while you can't feel it, your body is in shambles. Any more strikes and your body would have crumbled and left you in the Nether Sea forever. Zhua Fan shuddered from shock on the second trial. If Zhua Yifan had won, you wouldn't be you anymore. Your heart would have regressed to the time of being the demonic emperor in sacred domain, with the 100 years of experience in the mortal domain erased. The Nether Sovereign continued. In the third trial, was it really just a game with the child sovereign? With your spirit king soul power, didn't you find it odd how you still stood after 4 hours of relentless running? The trial strained your mind. Your spirit would have been spent to death if you hadn't understood the path. Gulp. Zhua Fan's heart froze. He always thought they used different ways of teaching him, not realizing the deadly danger lurking beneath. The Nether Sovereign mocked. The 3 trials and the 5 testers all passed on to you their path while also ready to kill you in the process. Nothing is free in this world. The bigger the risk, the bigger the reward, with the reward always in correlation with the price. They were earnest in passing their path to you. That meant holding nothing back, even if it meant ruining everything by killing you. It is the only way to truly invest oneself in teaching, by giving their all so that you can understand them, just like that last poem. It struck not you, but your heart. Had you not let go of all your worries, even believing to have a lucky break, the palm would have shattered your soul. It had nothing to do with Miss Chu at all. It was all you. Zhuo Fan felt a chill down his spine, realizing with a start just how close he was skirting death. The sovereigns were too playful, hiding death behind their smiles and making me confused. The Nether Sovereign smiled rumble. The skies shook hard, the sound slamming into their ears. The Nether Sovereign grew worried and rushed things. Zhuo Fan, once you return, focus on understanding my life and death path, as well as the other 3 paths. It's all up to you to stop the end of days. End of days? Zhuo Fan started, but then a prismatic glow entered him from the Nether Sovereign. The gloomy sky shattered and golden rays shone down from the high heavens. Nether Sovereign shouted, "Go." The 2 were blown away and vanished from sight. The Nether Sovereign turned to the golden glow above and whistled. The other testers arrived, looking grave. "Heavenly Sovereign, after all these years, you still managed to force your way in. Ha ha ha, you asked for this, didn't you?" The sky let out golden ripples and a humongous eye appeared with 12 golden rings in its center. It would have been impossible to barge in here with your 4 sovereign paths holding me back. But you had to be suicidal and pass them all on. Suicidal? The first guardian mocked. "We've died eons ago. Everyone here is a mere damned soul clinging to their path. How is that suicidal?" The huge eye focused on him. Tyrant Sovereign, Shadow Sovereign, Child Sovereign, Nether Sovereign, and Rebirth Sovereign. You know yourselves to be damned souls, so why do you keep fighting me? I'm not doing this out of my wish, but for the world's Tao. But your path is frightening. The old fisherman said, "The world is of yin and yang, condoning good and evil within its boundaries, without any extremes. All the creatures had the right to live." Heavenly Sovereign mocked, "Tao is the foundation of everything in existence, discarded like a rag the minute the demonic path arrived. The world is tainted, no longer caring about Tao. What's terrifying is the demons in humanity. As the Heavenly Sovereign, I shall stand in heaven's stead to enact the Tao by purging all demons. As such, since you're all born of the demonic path, you all must be removed for being opposite of my path. We aren't demonic cultivators, but people in coherence with Tao." Nether Sovereign spoke, "We seek the good in people, while you can't see right from wrong. Of course we walk different paths." We really are different men on different paths. You want to use the demonic path to fuse the 10 paths, to fight my heavenly path. But all your hopes will be in vain, with your plan in shambles. I will be the one to fuse the paths, and not the one you rest your hopes on." Heavenly Sovereign mocked, "Farewell for good. Old friends cleanse." The huge eye shone in 11 golden rings, unleashing a ripple of light. The Nether Sea vanished then and there. Despite the Nether Sovereign's calm face, "Heavenly Sovereign, you will fail. Our paths shall bear witness." Chapter 1238, Emperor Stage. Chapter 1238, Emperor Stage. Proofreader, Papatonks. Whoosh! A shadow flitted beneath the blazing sun. Before slamming into Zhuo Fan's body, he shook and coughed blood. Senior Nether Sovereign was right. I couldn't feel it, but my body is a wreck from Senior Tyrant Emperor's punches. Feeling sharp pain from everywhere, Zhuo Fan sighed. Those seniors went all out when it came to passing their path, going as far as killing me if they had to. Big Brother Zhuo. A cry came, "Great, your soul is back." That he Xiaofeng and Zhao Chun came back before, and said you and Sister Qingqing died in Nether Sea. You gave me such a fright. Thank heaven Sister Yu came after, and said that you'd wake up. Zhuo Fan looked at Shuang'er and her smile. Then he looked around, but all he found was Luo clansmen. Where are the others and Qingqing? Ruby Cloud sect group heard of Sister Qingqing's passing and took her body. Demonic Emperor, and that he Xiaofeng didn't even look at you as they left. Shuang'er smiled. Zhuo Fan nodded. Those two only care about themselves and no one else. Since my soul returned, Qingqing's must be back as well. That he punk might try forcing himself on her after finding out she's alive. What a shame I couldn't get rid of him in the Nether Sea. Zhua Fan sighed and looked around. Where's Yu? I don't see her. You finally think about her. Schwanger squinted at him. Sister Yu said she has something to do and won't be back to the clan for a while. Something? What can she do when she isn't even familiar with sacred domain? Zhua Fan frowned, but gave up trying to figure it out. He knew her character, and she should be fine, then let's go back. She must have her own plans. Should we tell Demonic Emperor? Why bother? Zhua Fan's eyes shone coldly. I've earned much from the Nether Sea, and will use them to advance. I don't have time for anything else. When I come out, I'll settle the score with those geezers, humph. The others nodded and looked ready to fight. After these calm years, Steward Zhua is ready to strike the 8 emperors. 3 months later, Zhua Fan was in a private room in the Luo clan's manor. Having entered it the minute he arrived, Luo Yunchong and the others were left hanging. Their cordial mood gone. Danqing Shan and the oldies nodded. He must have gotten something from the Nether Sea. I should have went as well, ha ha ha. Yeah, it must be something great by the looks of his hurry. They were envious. That's a supreme expert's domain for you, filled with riches. The kid is so biased, taking just 2 girls with him to hide his strength. We really missed out. The others nodded. Zhua Fan ignored all the chatter coming from outside and set up a defensive array before sitting cross-legged on the bed with eyes closed to ponder all that happened in the Nether Sea: the Tyrant Emperor's fist, Zhua Yifun's fight, the Child Sovereign's movements, that Peak Saint's attack, and the Nether Sovereign's final warning. Each even flowed through his mind as his energy surged higher and higher. Yuan Qi flooded his meridians with astonishing speed, covering every nook and cranny. Buzzing came from Zhua Fan's body as he released prismatic glows. The array had no way of stopping the lights, passing through them and coloring the heavens. What's that? The chatty group outside gasped, watching the sky shining in rainbow colors. Their cries soon died out as the light fell on them and provided warmth and comfort. Danqing Shan's heart thumped, his voice shaky. Please watch over me. I'm advancing. He rushed into his room and sat down at once to use the prismatic glow to reach the Emperor's stage. Curses, that's my line. Morong Lai was also frantic as he went to his room. I'm advancing too. I leave the guarding to you, brothers. You think we're any different? Let's leave guarding to whomever feels like it, 'cause I won't. Ouyang Ling Tian went as well. How sly, advancing by yourselves. What about us? Yeah, we're in the same boat. This is a truly rare chance we cannot miss. Yeah, let's just all advance then, and no one guards. All of the Luo clan in the city felt something from the prismatic glow above, their strength soaring. None had time for anything else, whether patrolling or guarding, as they vanished into their rooms to close their eyes. The entire city of hundreds of thousands became quiet as a ghost town, with not even a breeze passing. What's going on? Bailey Jingtian looked at the astonishing scene with a smirk. Thunder Sword King. This is our chance. They're all gone, and Zhua Fan has no one protecting him. Let's go in and kill him for our empire. Silence was his only answer. Bailey Jingtian looked around to find Bailey Yulei gone like the rest. You're also. Bailey Jingtian raged. As a Sword Star Empire's Sword Kings, haven't we been tagging with Zhua Fan for the chance to kill him? Humph. Useless. I'll just have to do it myself. Bailey Jingtian stomped ahead. He only got to make 2 steps as his eyes glazed over under the prismatic light show. His rage faded and calm was restored. The grudge is fading. But why? I feel like cultivating, knowing that I'll advance if I do. I can't miss this chance. Bailey Jingtian plopped down then, and there to meditate, the prismatic lights danced above over everyone's heads, enlightening them. None of the citizens missed this chance to cultivate. Boom. With a large explosion, a draconic cry sounded. Danqing Shan's dragon soul soared out and shone golden alongside a 300-meter-long sword. He actually formed his imperial mark so soon. His power surged wildly, growing exponentially. He entered Emperor's stage under the prismatic light, yet didn't stop. Boom. Following Danqing Shan were tens of other auras booming all over the town and unleashing their golden aura into the skies. Morong Lai and the others advanced as well. Luo Yunhai and the Luo clan's young guards reached the Spirit King stage. Luo Sifan and the juniors jumped 2 whole stages, To the Genesis stage, everyone was overjoyed and amazed. Even with the incredible spiritual energy of the sacred domain, wasn't this still too fast? The only explanation was the mystical prismatic light coming from Zhua Fan's room. They knew it had to be incredible. Cultivating under such a light was paradise, so they kept going despite having advanced. For the multicolored lights called to them and whispered deep secrets of the world that made their yuan-qi soar. Chapter 1239. Dragons Come Knocking. Chapter 1239. Dragons Come Knocking. Proofreader. Papatonks. Elder. Up ahead is the Luo clan's base. Whoosh. A dozen people streaked the clear sky and landed, with a muscled man in his 30s leading them as he pointed in the direction of the prismatic glow. We receive word from Gambling Town that the clan is refining a sword from a dragon scale is over there. The old man next to him gasped, What is that? Another elder with red hair frowned. In all my 32 millennia, I've never seen such an event anywhere in sacred domain. The whole world knows that any who refines a weapon with my race shall feel our wrath. But this clan just pranced around with their dragon sword without fear. Does someone have their back? Yeah. Another elder with black hair stepped forward, his eyes flashing. Something doesn't feel right. The Luo clan doesn't look like much, but does unusual things. Their location is also under some baffling phenomenon. Stay cautious. The others nodded. The muscled man sneered, then came over with a bow. Elders by Long. Qi Long. Hey Long, you're overreacting. Isn't that just a rainbow? I heard they have demonic Emperor Zhao Qin's protection. How is that a strong backing? Moreover, the most they could ever get to side with them are the 7 sacred mountains. But would those old guys dare mess in our affairs? We don't fear even 3 of those mountains working together. As for all 7-inch, Bai Long pondered, it never hurts to play it safe. Humans are treacherous and cunning. What if it's the 7 sacred mountains' attempt to taunt us into waging war? Never forget their constant taunts 500,000 years ago over the Fountain of Youth, making our race suffer heavy casualties as we relinquished that precious area. We were lucky that our die-hard resolution scared them off, thinking we'd take them down with us, and didn't suffer further needless losses. For the same reason, we need to be extremely careful against the sudden clan taunting us out of nowhere. Remember the past. The others nodded, with the muscled man saying, Should we test them? We'll have to reconsider if an expert is among them. Otherwise, I alone am more than enough to waste them. I don't fear even the 8 emperors, let alone this puny clan. A dragon's pride can't be tarnished. Those humans are looking down on us. The 3 elders nodded. The muscled man perked up and bowed before shooting forward. Before he even got close, the sudden boom scared him. A draconic cry announced the rise of a prismatic dragon as it unleashed a golden aura. The dragon split into 5, each with its own color. They circled in the sky and released black energy in the form of a hole. As the golden auras converged, the dragons intertwined their heads and tails to form the frame of a black mirror. This was Zhua Fan's imperial mark, the heaven-devouring Wraith mirror. The black mirror fell in Zhua Fan's room and vanished, followed by the disappearance of the prismatic lights. Everyone else shot their eyes open, looking at the clear sky and sighing with disappointment. Where did the lights go? Couldn't it last a bit longer? We haven't had enough. After they checked their cultivation, their joy shot higher than the sorrow. All had grown by a large margin. Danqing Shen, Murong Lai, and the other oldies were now peak emperors. Even 8 emperors were nothing to them now as inheritors of the Sword Sovereign, and having gone through Zhua Fan's 4 sovereign paths baptism, the 8 emperors were like children now. Even those chosen from the sacred mountains couldn't compare in foundation with them, for heaven's sake. I told you it was a rainbow. The muscled man calmed himself as he said, that was a human forming his imperial mark. Why did he have a dragon soul? Curses, the punk stole our dragon power to form his soul. How did he do it under our watch? The muscle man was puzzled, but then he shot at the city in rage. A mere human not only stole our dragon power, but even used us for a weapon. They must all die. His berserk roar caused the cheerful Danqing Shen and others to flinch. They focused on the muscled man charging into their city. Puny Luo clan, you have some nerve. I will obliterate you all. Peak emperor power was unleashed. flooding the city with his bloodthirst. The Luo clan would have been hard-pressed against such a mighty foe for sure, 2 days ago that is. But now, the Luo clan's spirit kings were peak emperors and emperor making a scene here? Nothing but a trifle. Where did this guy come from? He's got spunk. Danqing Shan whispered to the others. Morong Lai beamed, filled with battle spirit. With such a perfect test subject showing up, why not use him to hone our newfound emperor strength? Agreed. Everyone nodded with devious grins. Even Bailey Yulei got excited. But first, form a line. We can't have anyone hog him. Like usual then. Morong Lai grinned at Li Jingtian. Luo clan's original venerables go first than us. Ha ha ha. Don't mind if we do. Ha ha ha. Li Jingtian cupped his hands, filled with battle lust as he shot for the city limit. I'm your opponent. The muscled guy nodded. Peak Emperor. Good. I didn't think a tiny clan would have one. A shame you're a human. Us dragons are tens of times stronger than you. Humph. You're a dragon? Li Jingtian gasped, then grew thrilled at the challenge. Awesome. I can go all out then. Come again? They say dragons have the strongest bodies. I'm also a body cultivator, so let's dance. Li Jingtian laughed and shot for the muscled guy with a punch covered in black energy bam. A savage shockwave spread outward, causing the space to warp. Li Jingtian's punch landed in the guy's outstretched hand, unleashing a violent wind. His body shuddered under the mighty force. The muscled guy gasped. I didn't know humans could train their bodies to such a degree. A real shame, though, that you're just a human. No amount of training could ever help to win against dragons. Boom. The muscled man shook his hand and shot Li Jingtian back for a dozen steps. His eyes were filled with shock and thrill. Dragons are so powerful. Oldly, use your imperial mark. You're no beast, so don't try meeting one with just your body. We humans use martial arts to our advantage. A shout roused Li Jingtian from his frenzy. Qiu Yinhai. The others nodded. The muscled man mocked. Your friend's right. A mere human could never best dragons in raw power. That's why you humans are so prideful in the imperial mark. Dying before taking it out, I would send you off in tears. Ha ha. Those below are counting on you to protect them with the imperial mark. What the hell do you know? They're urging me so I'd finish fast, and they'll get a shot. Especially those sword kings. Once they get here, you won't stand a chance, even as a dragon. Those are the real monsters here. You're nothing but a freak of nature. Li Jingtian took a deep breath and made a sign. Using the imperial mark he just formed, he came to test himself. But this guy was actually waiting for him to show his best. Don't you know where you are? This is the Luo clan, home of monsters and devils. Those below can't wait to chew you up and spit you back out. Chapter 1240. Are they human? Chapter 1240. Are they human? Proofreader. Papatonks. Imperial mark, heaven-crushing black dragon. Squinting, Li Jingtian finished making signs and shouted. With a flash of golden, a huge black dragon coiled around an equally large seal high in the sky. Li Jingtian pointed, and with a draconic roar, the sea smashed towards the muscled guy. The space around it shook and warped from its power. The muscled guy widened at its incredible power and raised a growing arm. Bam! The arm of a peak emperor dragon slammed into the martial fanatic Li Jingtian, sending shockwaves on impact, yet none faltered back. The space was the one taking the brunt of their relentless power, with constant ripples flashing out the muscled guy's eye twitched in shock. It amazed him how Li Jingtian had the strength to match his. It was said a human's imperial mark was unstoppable, just like a spiritual beast's tough body. He, however, was a dragon, and ending a fight with a human in a draw would only bring him disgrace. The muscled guy's face turned red. Crack. His body shook and his eyes grew bigger as sweat dripped down. He strained as he pushed harder and sent the mark back. Li Jingtian shuddered and coughed blood. You win this round, but the next one is mine. Humph, you're not bad yourself. It's the first time a human of equal level broke my arm. He looked at his shaking right arm and said, too bad there's no second round. I can still fight even with a broken arm, but you've suffered a heavier wound, weakening your imperial mark and dooming your fate. With you gone, the Luo clan will have no expert defending it. Ha ha. Li Jingtian gave him a dumb look and flew down. I'm not the Luo clan's true defender. I just dropped by for a spar and not to die. Besides, there are plenty of others that can clobber you. There's just the matter of making sure those freaks don't kill you, so I can have my fill sparring with you. Li Jingtian turned to Qiu Yinhai. Your turn? Oldly, what's up with going all out in a spar? It's not about your wounds, but breaking his arm. Won't my spar be one-sided, without going all out even? Stop with the bragging. One hand is enough for him to take you on. Now go. Li Jingtian sighed. The muscled guy was baffled. There's another one stronger around? The Luo clan must be something else to have two of peak emperors. The muscled guy couldn't believe his ears, only accepting it when Qiu Yinhai flew before him. Qiu Yinhai smiled and bowed. After you. Humph. You must be dreaming thinking you can beat me with two peak emperors. Your only chance is to come at me together, instead of dying by challenging me alone. The muscled guy charged. It was clear the possibility of having both peak emperors ganging up on him had him on edge. He wanted to end this fast. It really was a quick spar. 3 minutes later, Qiu Yinhai huffed with a pale face and was bleeding from the mouth. He saluted. Dragons are indeed strong. I lost. The muscled guy's face twitched, downcast as he stared at his singed palm. Screw your loss. He's as strong as the first guy. Now my other arm is ruined. What the hell is up with the Luo clan? How did they get two experts at the level of 8 emperors? At least there isn't a third one showing up. Hey, who's next? Qiu Yinhai's question had his heart shivering. Whoosh. A figure in white flashed over, Xue Qingjian. She glanced at his ruined hands and snapped at Qiu Yinhai. Wasn't this a spar? Why go all out like Oldly? How am I to train against a handicapped adversary? I can't gauge my imperial mark like this. Sorry, honey. It was in the heat of the moment. Qiu Yinhai gave a goony smile. Train? You're using me for a punching bag? The muscled guy noticed Xue Qingjian at peak emperor stage and cried out. Just how many emperors do you have? All of them here. Xue Qingjian pointed at the group below, and they all flew up. With dozens at peak power among the hundreds, the dreadful maelstrom of auras had the muscled guy's face twitching. Curses. Damn fakers, what are you doing siding with the 8 emperors at your level? You could just thrash them and take everything. That's why you challenged us. You have the power. But we've come prepared and won't fail. The muscled guy roared. The people started and saw his smug smile. Humph. No matter how many you are, you'll all die. I didn't come alone. There's 24 peak experts beside the 3 elders. Each of them is as strong as me. None of you will survive this. What? The group shouted. The muscled man smirked. Scared? Awesome. More sparring partners. Ha ha ha. The group cheered in excitement and thrill of battle. The muscled guy was dumbstruck. Hey, have you lost it? Our elders are saints. We also have 24 peak emperors. What's there to laugh about? We're so excited since you came right as we became emperors to test ourselves. Ha. Morong Lai sighed. We thought of taking you with us to spar since you're a peak emperor stage dragon, since dragons are far stronger than humans and should meet our standards. Alas, look how you ended up after just 2 bouts. You're no training material at all. To test ourselves, we need saints. Of course we'd be excited with your elders coming over. But how do we split them? There's just 3 of them. Winesword Immortal posed a very good question. Danqing Shan said. Dragon saints can't be normal. We'll have to go 3 or 4 against one, so there's no need to take turns. The Sword Kings nodded. Leave the strongest to me for a while. The group turned to find Sword Child there as well. I'm Dad's sword and reached peak emperor stage thanks to his inspiration. A couple of dragon saints aren't a problem to me. Just leave them to me when you find it too tough to go on. Their eyes twitched and gave him a nasty look. We won't give you the chance. Young master can just watch from the sidelines. Stubborn fools. Sword Child turned his head away. The muscled guy had a dumb stare. Are these guys human? We came to destroy them, yet they take us for training partners? Are they that strong? The muscled guy's beliefs crumbled then and there. What's wrong with today's generation? Since when did humans become stronger than dragons? Whoosh. Dozens of figures appeared, with the 3 dragon elders in the lead. Elder by Long said, What happened? Did you meet an expert and call for help? The muscle guy's lip shook, raising his ruined arms and pointed at the hundreds of people in front. The elders gasped. Why are there so many emperors? It's like an 8 emperors faction. No, not even they have so many peak emperors. SSS. The elders shuddered, their spine tingling under the gaze of 10 people locking onto them like prey. What did we get ourselves into? Wait. Since when did humans look at dragons like that? We're dragon saints too. Chapter 1241, Dragon Form. Chapter 1241, Dragon Form. Proofreader, Papatonks. Pick your targets. Charge. Having long been ready, Morong Lai and the rest shouted with zeal, each after one dragon expert. The rest followed after them. The elders gasped. You didn't explain to them who we are? I did. The muscled guy shook his head. It's because of it they don't fear us, wanting to fight us instead. For crying out loud, what is wrong with them? These humans don't even respect us. We'll have to cull 100 and make an example of them. Elder Bai Ling roared, letting his hand drop at the incoming Luo tide, with him taking the lead to charge, attack. These humans must have forgotten our might after so many years. Let them suffer for it. Draconic roars littered the sky as the 24 dragon experts followed him into battle. Boom. The savage shockwave shook the space as it spread from the impact. The 24 dragons were up against hundreds of Luo clansmen, with even the elders facing 3 or 4 sword kings. This showed a clear contrast between the two races, with dragons tens of times stronger. The shock, however, came for those prideful dragons. Divine Dragon Sweep. Elder Bai Long unleashed a mighty palm. An image of a hundreds of meters long draconic tail lashing out appeared behind, leaving spatial distortions in its wake. Under such power, the landscape would change for thousands of miles, with the Luo clan's town flattened. Decimating lash. Vaulting dragon cleave. Sundering lightning. Morong Lai, Danqing Shun, and Bailey Yulei intervened with their imperial mark made of their sword arts. The dragon tail broke down into nothing. Elder Bai Long shuddered back 5 steps and looked back in shock. It can't be. 3 peak human emperors blocked my attack. They're not your normal emperors for sure. Elder Bai Long was grave, now understanding why these folk were so antagonistic. They were freaks. The other side faltered 5 steps as well, looking at the elder with thrill and astonishment. That's a dragon saint for you. They could only fight him together. It didn't matter though, for in a spar, one had to go all out to make the most of it. This was the expert that could test their limits and unearth their potential for more. The trio's eyes burned with battle lust. Hei Long and Qi Long met their own match, looking just as dark. As for the other 20+ dragon emperors, they had to contend with normal Luo clan emperors, tens of them each. As the ardent fight went on, the proud dragons realized these humans weren't normal. They doubted they could even beat them at this point. The muscled guy who started it all sighed. What have we gotten ourselves into? This isn't just some normal human gathering. Their power is beyond human, close to that of spiritual beasts. The 3 elders were beyond mere dragon emperors, yet 3 to 4 humans could hold them back while other dragons couldn't. Ancient experts. Elder Bai Long fought with Danqing Shun's group a few more times and turned grave. Hei Long and Qi Long nodded. The rest were dumbstruck, keeping away from their battles for now. The muscled guy with ruined arms flashed to the elder's side and asked, Elder Bai Long, what is this about ancient experts? In ancient times there were humans that could fight sacred beasts and dragons. Among them were the 10 ancient sovereigns, who could surpass even the 5 sacred beasts. Bai Long spoke. All the cultivators under the 10 sovereigns had the power to fight us dragons. But after the bloody war, many perished. The strength of spiritual beasts and dragons is innate. We hadn't changed, while humans lost their roots. That's why humans today are weaker than spiritual beasts. Even if you take the strongest and loftiest of the 7 sacred mountains, they still can't. Hei Long said, they remind us of the fights with the ancient humans. It'll be hard to beat them if we keep holding back. Dragons, assume your true form. We're going all out. Dragon form? The dragons gasped. That was their true nature, meaning their power would be on another level. They were strong to begin with in human form, handling other equal stage human cultivators with relative ease. They only went full dragon when they had no choice, uncaring of the shame of having their bodies harmed. They were just too prideful to admit that the weak humans were worthy of seeing their true form since antiquity, around 500,000 years ago. The last time this happened was when the 7 sacred mountains came charging in. Now it was going to happen again today, when they weren't even pushed back? Isn't this overestimating them a little? Elder Hei Long, I don't want to hear it. Since they have ancient expert strength, we'll fight them for real. Hei Long's eyes were firm. Turning to the other elders, they say ancient dragons fought with humans using their true bodies. What do you think? The others nodded, agreed. The elders jumped out of the fight and into the skies. With a roar, their bodies glowed white and soon revealed themselves as 3 huge red, white, and black dragons with unspeakable aura. Their tails swished sent cutting winds under the fierce winds. The Luo clan town threatened to crumble, they're now tens of times stronger. Dan Xingxin gasped in shock. Fellas, this looks bad. It's no longer a spar now. 3 of us aren't enough to take even one. Murong Lai's face twitched, sweat trickling down his brow. Yeah, dragon saints are no pushovers. We have to stop them somehow before they ruin the town. We just got a foothold on sacred domain, but now it's about to be destroyed. They all gave grave nods. You should be proud of forcing us into our true form, Luo clan. But now it's over. The wounded, muscled guy had a sinister grin of disdain. We once faced 1,000 saints with 100 true dragon saints, destroying a mountain, while only the elders remain. With the 24 dragon emperors, you're finished. A true dragon emperor is enough to face your saints. Ha ha ha. The muscled guy roared and turned into a 100-meter-long earth dragon. His 2 claws were wounded, but was still more than enough to handle the normal Luo emperors following his action. The rest of the dragons changed as well. The sky was now filled with huge dragons, ready to unleash destruction upon the world. Looking at the incoming apocalypse, the people's hearts sank, their brows locked, and their breathing heavy. Leave the dragon saints to me. Former sword kings like you should have no trouble dealing with the dragon emperors, or there'd be no point in you being here. A lazy voice sounded as slow steps approached. Chapter 1242, Injuring 3 Dragons. Chapter 1242, Injuring 3 Dragons. Proofreader, Papatonks. Who? The black figure floated into the coming storm. Bai Long's eyes shone, and he swished his white tail at the heads of the humans below, like a scythe to reap their lives. Whoosh. The huge tail unleashed a terrible power, crushing the city's walls to dust. Dan Qingshan's group was grave yet didn't dodge. Whoosh. A black light shot out of nowhere and met the tail. What? Bai Long felt his huge and all-powerful tail come to a halt from something beyond his control. He even felt pain from it. What is going? Bai Long was shocked, watching his white scales fell down and blood spurted everywhere. Not just the sensitive dragons, but even the humans were overwhelmed by the scent of blood. The dragons gasped at Elder Bai's red tail. How did it get hurt? Who did that? Get out here now. Bai Long roared with bloodshot eyes. One strike had him bleeding. It was but a flesh wound, but that was a power neither of the ones below had. He couldn't believe the Luo clan had an even greater expert than these. And by the looks of his wound, he could kill dragon saints. Bai Long was grave, with the other 2 growing tense. Just what is the Luo clan? How many experts do they have? A light footstep sounded in the stillness, revealing a wicked grin and on the face of an 8-year-old. Ha ha ha. I'm Dad's sword. Cause trouble here, and you'll be leaving in pieces. Dragon saints sure are amazing. Only getting your scales peeled when it should have killed you. That's one tough body. A child? Bai Long gaped. Did he shoot that sword attack? A damn child harmed me? Is the Luo clan filled with one freakier monster than the next? Was it you who harmed me? Dragon saints are strong and renowned in the sacred domain. I guess with Dad away, I'm the only one in the Luo clan that can harm you guys. Got a problem with that? Sword Child gave a taunting smirk. Or do you believe that anyone here can hurt you now? What a bummer. Since anyone can kill you, are you worms or dragons? Ha ha ha. How dare you? Hei Long roared in fury, flicking his tail at Sword Child. Have a taste of this then. Feel free to dodge, but your town will be no more. Be buried with the rest of them. Who? A huge shadow came crashing down. Overshadowing the sun, Sword Child smiled and charged at Hei Long with his right hand shining black. Then why don't you try my power? Dragons and sacred beasts aren't the toughest in the world. I have the strongest body. Ha ha ha. Apocalyptic sword. Bam! The oversized black tail clashed with the tiny Sword Child in a glorious explosion. The shockwaves spread everywhere and warped the skies, with the dragons forced back under the pressure. What monster is he? How can a child take on Elder Hei Long's tail? Did he just say he's Dad's sword? Does that make his dad a god? You're saying the Luo clan's true expert hasn't come out yet? The dragons were shocked to the core. Have we rushed things by coming here now? How were we supposed to know there was such a mighty faction hiding here? Their shock didn't stop there, watching with bugged eyes as a black figure punched through the huge tail. Bearing a wicked grin, Hei Long howled in pain and anger. Holy hell! He heard another dragon saint, and this one's much worse. How is the kid so strong? It's harrowing. Danqing Shun side-grinned. Sword Child was something the sacred domain had never seen. A sovereign weapon. The limited cultivation was lacking against a dragon saint. Obvious from the shallow wound his sword strike left when it came to sharpness and hardness. He was unmatched even by sacred beasts, let alone some wiggling reptiles. Using his body as a blade, the bloody outcome was more than obvious no matter how hard one trained their hands. They couldn't break a nail. Danqing Shen's group sneered at the two wounded dragons. Dragons pride themselves on their toughest bodies. But look where that got them. Ha ha, pa. Sword Child looked smug at his handiwork. But then a shadow loomed over him, and he found himself unable to move. A red dragon stared down at him and clawed. Elder Qi Long took advantage of his lapse in judgment to grab him. Elder Qi Long smirked. Ha ha ha, brat. You're too cocky. Humans are tricky with their many and strong martial arts, but your bodies are frail. I don't know what you pulled to hurt them, but I got you now. I need to just squeeze and you're paste. What's holding you? Sword Child taunted with a raised eyebrow. Few things can kill me in the world, but squeezing ain't one of them. The huge dragon eye twitched and Qi Long raged. You got spunk. So allow me to share with you the feeling of having all your bones crush. Qi Long squeezed hard. His claw hardly moved even as he strained to make a fist. Something was stopping him from doing it. What the hell? Qi Long used two claws this time. To no avail. Sword Child rubbed his chin in a most condescending way. Old-timer. Any harder and you'll be breaking your knuckles. My bones are the toughest there is. Damn brat, don't get cocky. No matter how tough humans are, they can never reach a dragon's level. Qi Long couldn't accept it, squeezing with more strength. The rest just stared. Sword Child yawned, feeling no pain at all. He found it more amusing to give the straining dragon a taunting look after having enough of trying. Qi Long huffed and relaxed his grip. Knowing how futile it all was, Sword Child's eyes shone with bloodlust. Qi Long. Bai Long cried out. A black sword wave shot through the red claw and showered the skies in blood. Four large rough talons rumbled as they landed on the ground. Qi Long wailed like a banshee. Sword Child flew up and laughed. I told you so, old-timer. Now you broke your fingers. Chapter 1243, The Real Monster. Chapter 1243, The Real Monster. Proofreader. Papatonks. Everyone gasped at this unbelievable sight, their hearts jumping from shock. The dragons felt fear as Sword Child's cold eyes snapped on them. What abomination is he? Elder Qi Long's hardened claw ended up without 4 talons under his attack. It's nothing short of a fairy tale. You're saying the brat is tougher than a dragon saint? He can't be squished? Is he not human? He was not, so there was no point for you to even try. Danqing Shun's group knew this best. Sword Child's display still sent them reeling in shock. He's a chip off the old block for sure, using the same tactics and toying with the enemy. The Dragon Saints fell for the enemy's scheme and played to his rhythm instead of their own. Sword Child was an emperor but had the body of a divine sword. The Dragon Saints could have just used their powers to wipe out his soul and be done with it without a hassle. This was where excessive pride in their draconic bodies got them. Thinking it infallible and suffering for it, Qi Long kept howling in pain and fury. Looking at Sword Child with savagery, the other two elders were just as hateful, looking at him for a sign of weakness. Dragons, attack together. Destroy the Luo clan. Give the city no quarter. Qilong roared, giving a bloody order. The rest howled and charged. Endless dragon breaths were spewed as they came down upon the humans. With no end in sight, Dan Shen's group jumped to stop it. Clan guardians, destroy the enemy before they call for help. The Luo clan and the dragons were at war. The testing and training was over. There was no honor here, no mercy, only revenge. For the ruined claw, for the heavy wounds, the dragons could take on 10 easily, while the Luo clan outnumbered them 10-1. Dan Shen and the other true experts could also take one dragon alone, boosting the Luo clan's morale in this war. Both sides were equally matched, with neither giving an inch. The 3 dragon saints grew grave from above. They came here ready for this, but even they did not expect to meet such strong opposition outside of facing the sacred mountains. The outcome of this war rested solely on their strongest from each side, the elders and the freaky child. Once we beat him, we can just mow down the rest of them. The same applies to the kid, killing our dragons like nothing. The fate of both sides rested on just 4 people by Long, and the elders flicked their tails and shot for Sword Child together. A spectator would think dragons have lost all their honor to gang up on a child. Aren't you 3 the elders on top of the dragon clan? You're ganging up on a frail boy? They couldn't care less, for this boy gave them a bloody lesson. Rather than wait for him to take them down one at a time, they would finish him then and there. Bam! Hei Long took the lead and hissed as he whipped his tail at Sword Child, sending him hurtling by. Long waited behind to claw him and sent him reeling in another direction. The intense shock of the blow got his body shaking, though he didn't care, since it wouldn't hurt. Physical attacks were useless. The dragon still didn't get it after all this time. Qilong shot ahead of him and struck with savage fury, many times stronger than before, sending him flying again. Sword Child was treated like a ball, passed around between the 3 dragons thousands of times. A human would have been reduced to nothing ages ago, while Sword Child didn't even feel an itch, sneering at them after bouncing him around tens of thousands of times. The dragons grew tired and stopped. For crying out loud, what is this kid? We've been attacking him for so long, but can't even hurt him. Is he even human? Qilong panted hard, while the other 2 nodded. Sword Child snickered, drawing 2 fingers and cutting the air with them, letting out a whistling and metallic sound. Had enough, old-timers? Now it's my turn. Sword Child shot for Qilong. I took 4 talons last time, and now I'll have the entire claw. Ha ha ha. Qilong suffered once and leaned out of the way and dodged with his tail. Sword Child's finger slashed a black sword wave and took some of his scales along with blood. Not bad. Didn't think you'd be so nimble with such a huge body. Sword Child taunted, slashing where Qilong dodged. A shame my sword isn't so easy to avoid. Whoosh! A sword wave shot from his finger, right for the huge dragon. Qilong shook in horror. While it wasn't Sword Child's direct attack, he still couldn't take it on. He might end up cut in half in this critical juncture. He couldn't dodge and blocking was ill-advised. He took a deep breath and blew, releasing a scarlet glow, draconic wave. Bam! The 2 attacks met, and with a resounding boom, they shook everything around. Qilong shuddered and looked grave, while Sword Child got pushed 10 feet back. Looking a little flushed by Long lit up and cried, "Look, the kid got pushed back and seems to be in some pain. How come? We pounded him thousands of times already, and it didn't even scratch him." Hei Long frowned by. Long said, "I got it. His reaction is due to using our powers. It's not his body that reacted, but his soul. He has a tough body, beyond ours, but his soul is only that of an emperor, not so monstrous. Use soul attacks and he'll die." Right. We've gotten so used to dealing with humans with our bodies that we forgot about attacking his soul. Now that we found such an abominably tough opponent, we'll have to learn from them and use soul attacks. Ha ha ha, Hei Long mocked. Qilong lit up as well and grinned. Sword Child frowned, his heart sinking as he inched away. Crud. The fools found me out. Not even 100 dragons could break my body, but my soul. Sword Child looked around, searching for Dan Shen or the others to join up and defend his soul. The 3 dragons found his weakness and instantly unleashed 3 red, black, and white glows at him. Draconic wave. Sword Child's eye twitched and he dodged once and twice, only to find himself in front of the last, blocking his retreat and forcing him to face it. He swung his fingers before the scarlet glow, blocking it. But that action shuddered his soul and messed with his tempo. The three glows combined just then and appeared once more. Sword Child gasped and sighed, with no chance to dodge. Blocking the combined attacks would leave him gravely wounded, as well he was stuck, something the three huge dragons relished. The freak is done for. Five colored dragons joined together, formed a black mirror right in front of Sword Child. Dad. Sword Child cheered while the dragon's hearts sank. Dad, does that mean the real monster is here? Chapter 1244. Heaven Devouring Wraith Mirror. Chapter 1244. Heaven Devouring Wraith Mirror. Proofreader. Papatonks. Boom. The combined attack of the dragons landed on the mirror, making it shake a bit. Black energy then formed vortexes on its surface, sucking up the power into those abysses. This can't be. The three pairs of huge draconic eyes shuddered in disbelief at the weird mirror. Domain Soul Imperial Mark, it can devour anything. Even so, we unleashed our draconic waves, not something a mere Imperial Mark could absorb. Just how was that Domain Soul formed to be so tough and take it on? Hei Long cried out, staring at the black mirror with fear. The kid's father is a monster as well, defying all logic. Whoosh! Rumbling came from the mirror as black dragon claws emerged from the vortexes, shooting straight for the dragons in the sky crack. The dragons were still out of it, only waking up when there were 5 black claws on them. Those claws were hard as diamonds, making the dragon emperors unable to break out of them. What the hell are these things? The black dragon claws pulled one dragon into the mirror. He howled just before his end came. Followed by many other dragons, the sky was filled with draconic howls 1 second, then eerie still the next, with the sun shining on the remaining 3 dragon saints. The dragons and Danqing Shan's group gasped. What kind of Imperial Mark did Zhuofan make? How is it that insane? We barely get to hold our own against one, yet he finishes all of them like nothing. This is the power of the pillar of the Luo clan. Clap. The dumbstruck humans and dragons snapped out at the sudden sound. They found out the dragons had black claws on them as well. Unable to break free, they got to experience for themselves the terror of their fellow dragons. The claws were strong, stronger than them, but they still couldn't get why a human would have such a deadly Imperial Mark. They didn't have the time to make sense of any of it, stuck in a dire situation. Despite being saints, these humans could actually kill them, especially now that the true monster was here. The 3 dragons exchanged a glance and used all their power to fly around Clap. The black dragon claws that foiled dragon emperors stood no chance against the saints. Breaking down despite that, they chose to flee with a flick of their tail instead of pursuing the fight. Curses, we screwed up badly. Just you wait until we're back with a real army, then we'll flatten you and rescue our people. Leaving so soon? I'll go stop them. Sword Child sneered. Sword Child, stop. I'll do it. A shout reached him. Whoosh. Zhuofan flashed in the sky, and the heaven-devouring wraith mirror entered his body. Looking at the parting dragons, he had a nasty smirk. He vanished from his spot and appeared before the trio, so fast. The dragons stammered from shock. What skill was that to catch up to a dragon saint's speed? Is he that monstrous? He won't be easy to deal with. But we're not about to just keel over just because you stopped us. Humph. Even the human saints have trouble against us. The 3 demons shared a look and flicked their tails as they charged. Fighting against an unknown like Zhuofan could lead to annihilation, but a sudden charge was not something a human could stop either. The sudden display of power caused the sky to sport black cracks from the 3 waves of light, while the world around was devastated by a fierce storm. Alas, they happened to meet not just anyone, but Zhuofan, who inherited 4 sovereign paths. Raising his Qilin arm, Zhuofan stood calmly, giving off an eerie vibe as the unleashed storm had no effect on him. Qilin Tyrant Fist. He faced the mighty attacks with but a fist. It flashed scarlet for a moment, then it exploded like a volcano. Boom. The world around them shook under the deafening explosion, with the sky now replaced by a gigantic black hole. The dragons felt their heads overcome by a searing pain as blood flowed down their faces. The huge bodies spun a dozen times before they could straighten and look at Zhuofan's grin with fear. How is this possible? He's just a peak emperor and blocked us with a punch. Just how? They were called Swordchild. This guy is the freak's father. Then he must be even worse. His son's body is an abomination, and so must the father. The dragons grew tense, their blood running cold. This is bad. We might not get out of this alive. The audience was bug-eyed. Just a punch stopped the three dragons. Steward Zhua is even more of a monster now. Damn it. Why are we even further behind him? Bailey Jingtian gnashed his teeth. Bailey Yulei chuckled and shook his head. Bali Yuyu entrusted him to look after Bailey Jingtian. Now there was no point. Each time they broke through, Zhuofan would always stand the highest. It got so bad that it became a gulf between them. Now we can't even touch him. Yuyu, you can rest easy now, huh? Zhuofan did not finish the dragons, cupping his hands. Dragon friends, it's been ages. You knew we'd come. Word travels fastest in Gambling Town. News of wielding a dragon-scale sacred weapon would one day reach the dragons, and that would mean you'd come here. You mean this was all a trap? Bai Long gasped. What are you? What do you want? What are you humans up to? Do you want the sacred mountains to wage war with us again? Zhuofan had a vague smile. Seniors, we're unrelated to the sacred mountains. I only wish to invite you over for a few days and talk. Anything you wish to say, you can do it back in our dragon lands. Bai Long shouted with unease. Zhuofan sighed. I see you don't believe me. Sorry in advance for making it hard on you, elders. Shadowbind. Zhuofan flashed next to them, and three shadows shot from Zhuofan and wrapped around them, preventing them from moving. Chapter 1245, Talks. Chapter 1245, Talks. Proofreader, Papatonks. The black mirror re-emerged, and Zhuofan waved the three dragons into it before vanishing. Danqing Shun sighed. Boy, I knew at the moment I saw you that you were a dragon among men. You've come a long way, so far that you're making all of us old men amazed at your progress. Even the invincible sword didn't make us feel so far behind. The others nodded with envy. Old Dan, you're too kind. I was only lucky to receive senior's guidance. Zhuofan smiled, pacifying their downcast moods. Elderly, did you find anything about what I asked? Li Jingtian bowed. Steward Zhua, forgive me. This turned out to be hard. The area was erased of any clues. Erased? Yes, they say the sky fell 100 years ago, that not one survivor remained from the sudden destruction. Li Jingtian reported with doubt. The strange thing is, any disaster should have at least have some survivors. Even if they did die in the end, some clues had to be left behind, or traces of what happened. Yet there was absolutely nothing. The only evidence people once lived there were the merchants that used to pass through, fleeing for their lives upon the sudden change in the sky. Zhuofan frowned. It was done quite thoroughly. Steward Zhua, should I continue? No, I don't think there's anything else to find. Zhuofan sighed. What cities are you in? Young Sanzi and Shower Guarding? Call them over and send someone else instead. Yes. Li Jingtian bowed and left. Zhuofan waved for the others to disperse while he returned to his room. He was an emperor now, but he still needed to ponder the four sovereign paths. The strong dragons forced him out ahead of time. A month later, Li Jingtian shouted from beyond his door, Steward Zhua, Yilin, young Master San and young Miss Chower are waiting in the hall. I'll be right there. Zhuofan's eyes shone as he opened them. He walked into the hall, and the three people there greeted Father. Elder brother. There's no need for courtesy, just sit. Zhuofan smiled. How was it? Was it nice and easy ruling over a city? The trio sneered, with Yilin beginning, Elder brother, there's nothing more boring for us than playing as city lords. We might as well be lords over in the mortal domain instead of coming to the sacred domain with you, while you've been working behind our backs lately. What's wrong? Zhuofan asked. Young Sanzi mocked. Father, we've been away for so long that only after returning did we find out that those old codgers advanced. We heard you're the cause behind it. Can't you let us enjoy it too? They're all emperors now, having the same strength as we have. Now we fell behind. Who are we to blame for that? Yeah, it's not fair leaving us out of such a grand occasion. Yilin huffed in anger. Zhuofan sighed. Take it easy. That was an accident. I got 4 sovereign legacies and had to enter seclusion. How was I supposed to know the sovereign paths would light the sky and help not just me but the whole Luo clan in advancing? You can't expect me to know that. Young Sanzi, you're also sacred beasts, making the insight ineffective. Your bloodline is the most important, so why nag me over this? We just think it's unfair for Yilin. Young Sanzi rolled his eyes and Shower sulked. Yilin nodded. Elder brother, you have to make it up for me. Let me enjoy the grand Dao as well. It's not up to me. The paths aren't mine. I can't control it. Zhuofan shrugged, but chuckled at Yilin's downcast gaze. But I can make it up to you in another way to catch up to those guys in no time. A cultivation shortcut? What is it? The 3 perked up. Zhuofan grinned, and as a black energy streaked around, it left behind 24 figures slumped on the ground. The trio looked oddly at them. Zhuofan smiled. Dragon friends, let us talk. How may I call you? Dragons? The trio stared in amazement. Having just got back, they didn't know of the battle a month ago, that the dragons came knocking and that Zhuofan snatched them up. Looking at the slumped dragons, they felt curious and amiable. Their dragon ancestors' offspring, essentially. Who are you? What do you want from us? Bai Long glared at Zhuofan. I warn you, do anything to us and our people will get you for it. Not even you can fight off the dragon land's endless experts. Zhuofan put on a genial smile, bowing. Senior, we have no bad intention towards dragons. Quite the opposite. We're both on the same side. Same side. They all flinched in doubt. We're dragons and you're humans. How's that the same side? Stop playing with us. Zhuofan pointed. Yilin, tell them about your master. Dragon seniors, my master is one of the ancient 5 great sacred beasts, decimating dragon ancestor. Yilin bowed with nothing but respect. The dragons gasped. How can that be? Our ancestor fell in ancient times. Yilin, show them. Zhuofan waved. Yilin lifted a finger, and a golden fire burst out of it. The elders felt the familiar energy and cried out, yes, it's dragon ancestors' decimating golden flame. It's the same fire from our dragon lands. How can you? Elder, did they steal it as well? The wounded muscled guy added. The elders hesitated. Yilin spoke with pride. Master told me sacred beast powers can destroy the world. They can only be imparted, lest one dares be destroyed instead. Stealing? I know that Dragonlands hold the decimating golden flame as well, but did any of you train in it? Well? By long side, yes, Elder Yun has managed to train in Ancestor's golden fire, but 2 years later the flames consumed him. There's no surviving it unless the Ancestor himself bestows it, even to dragons. Then he's truly Dragon Ancestor's successor? They were all baffled by this development. Zhuofan pointed at young Sanzi and Shower. They are Shower and Thunder Phoenix's successors as well, true sacred beasts and not humans. Dragon Ancestor even trained them. Zhuofan gave them a look and the two released their auras. A savage red aura covered the city, while purple lightning crackled in the sky. This left them in an even bigger shock. They could feel a power like no other forcing them into submission from the two. Such pressure made their limbs soft and blocked their resistance. Sacred beasts. The elders were beyond thrilled, bowing with the rest of the dragons. They say the 5 great sacred beasts fought with the 10 sovereigns. I can't believe there would be successors. The day for our sacred beasts' rise is nigh. Ha ha ha. The others cheered. The 7 sacred mountains had pushed the dragons around for too long. Once the 2 sacred beasts matured, they would level them. Zhuofan's face twitched. Dragon seniors, it's too soon to rejoice. What's the problem? We now have sacred beasts, and the time of spiritual beasts is just around the corner. Yes, you have sacred beasts, but humans have sovereigns. Sovereigns? Bai Long said, didn't they all die? Zhuofan rolled his eyes and sneered. Who told you that? Couldn't they just hide? Anyway, I already met 5 of them, 4 in sacred domain and 1 in mortal domain. Also, besides these 2 young sacred beasts, the other 3 are still trapped. Attacking humanity doesn't make sense. You'll only let the sovereigns see you and ruin your efforts. Chapter 1246, Teaming Up. Chapter 1246, Teaming Up. Proofreader, Papatonks. The dragons froze in place, with by long shaking. Say what? The sovereigns are still alive? That means humans aren't finished yet. I can't claim all 10 are around, but there's still enough of them. Zhuofan snickered, their faces twitched with by long sighing. Just who was it that spread the word the 10 sovereigns and the sacred beasts fell? Aren't they still alive, here and now? You also mentioned that the other 3 sacred beasts are trapped? Our ancestor? Yes, he's trapped in a place called the mortal domain. Zhuofan spoke gravely. You can tell that we have dragon souls. To form it, dragon power is needed. There's no way for humans to steal it when you're guarding it with vehemence. With dragon ancestor in the mortal domain, only by gathering earth dragon souls to draw out the dragon power will it work. Since he's your primogenitor, drawing dragon power shouldn't be hard. The others nodded. I see. So you all came from the mortal domain? Is dragon ancestor all right? How do we save him? People, he is very much safe. Zhuofan appeased. He can't go out just yet, and sent us ahead to sacred domain. Yet? Yes, he can't break the mortal domain's barrier, but it's quite easy to break his cell. He won't do it, because of one man. Who? The creator of mortal domain, the heavenly sovereign. Zhuofan's eyes shone by long cried out, the top sovereign? He made the mortal domain? It was meant as a prison, to confine the sacred beasts. The heavenly sovereign hasn't done anything to them all these years, making his situation unknown. That's why Dragon Ancestor had us go ahead and scout the place for his trail. If the heavenly sovereign is weakened, it'll be the best chance to strike. Also, we've made preparations in the sacred domain to help all of them escape the mortal domain. Then your Dragon Ancestor's envoy, here to help them. Bai Long was excited. Zhuofan nodded without shame. Yes, this is Sir's intent. To wait or strike true. That's why I'm saying we are on the same side. Dragon Ancestor relies on us in the mortal domain and relies on you in the sacred domain. Will you help us? Of course. Anything for Dragon Ancestor. Bai Long roared, the others joining him and standing tall. It was his life's greatest honor to lay his life for Dragon Ancestor. Yi Lin sighed. They might look like humans, but they're as simple as spiritual beasts where it counts. Dragon Ancestor has no trouble getting out and coming to sacred domain, but this bro of mine has misled them. He stands for the humans in the end anyhow, not wanting for the sacred beasts to reign once more. If it turned out that the heavenly sovereign was their common enemy, they would return. It all came down to Dragon Ancestor's words. If they could be trusted, Zhuofan offered a hand with a smile. Do we team up? We're all doing this for Dragon Ancestor. That makes us family. Pa. Bai Long shook Zhuofan's hand hard. We will do our all to go with your plan to save Dragon Ancestor. How may I call you? Luo Clan Steward, Zhuofan. Dragon Clan's Elder, Bai Long. Bai Long grinned and patted his chest. You have an impressive body for a human. How did you train? At Dragon Ancestor's favor, he offered me a scale and reforged my body in the golden flames. No wonder, ha ha ha, Bai Long believed him more. With Dragon Ancestor coming, it was a reason to celebrate after pleasantries. Zhuofan pointed at his people. Our investigation is to thwart the heavenly sovereign, but first we'll need more strength. I ask Elder Bai to take these 3 to the Dragonlands and teach them. They will act as representatives of our cooperation and to also gather more men. They are 2 sacred beasts and Dragon Ancestor's disciple. They have great authority among the sacred beasts. Of course, Qilin is the head of beasts. Thunder Phoenix and Kuanping oversee the north and south birds. Cao rules the seas and Dragon Ancestor created his race. Most of all the spiritual beasts came from them, and they were once a force to be reckoned with in the sacred domain. By long side, ever since the 5 sacred beasts fell, us dragons were the only ones still putting up a fight against humans, with the birds and beasts scattering. This time is different. With the 2 of them calling them, attacking the 7 sacred mountains will be nothing, ha ha ha. Zhuofan nodded with a smile. Great, but let's be subtle about it and not let them catch wind of this. The Dragonlands are vital in the sacred domain, with many eyes on them. That's why we didn't come knocking the moment we got here, attracting the enemy's attention. We thus thought of drawing you out to talk. The sacred weapon from a dragon scale comes from Senior Kuanpeng. He must have forged it from a deceased dragon. I ask for your forgiveness. It's fine. We're not petty to mind trifles. It's all for Dragon Ancestor. The dragons didn't mind it. It's unknown when Qilin and Thunder Phoenix will mature, but a war is knocking and we need all the sacred beasts. Is there a way for them to grow faster among spiritual beasts? Well, Bai Long hesitated. We are the only spiritual beasts able to take human form, and that is because of our precious land, Dragonizing Pool. In the ancient past, when humans and spiritual beasts were at peace, Dragon Ancestor and the Shadow Sovereign made it. It contains the essence of Dragon Ancestor and the core of Shadow Sovereign's path. We are able to find human reflections in its waters, using its power to turn human. Our own strength is greatly improved as well. Sacred beasts can turn human by themselves, but if they can go through the Dragonizing Pool, taking in Dragon Ancestor's power, it will deepen their form. The Shadow Sovereign's path is truly intricate, not only dividing people into flesh and soul, but shadows as well. By bringing out the power of their shadow, they can maximize their potential. Dragonizing Pool is a true masterpiece of cooperation between a sovereign and sacred beast. Zhuofan nodded and rejoiced inside. Great! Yilin, you guys got your wish, receiving a dragon's favor to make up for your weakness. The trio nodded with eagerness. Elder Bai, what of the Fountain of Youth? One dragon spoke. Zhuofan turned to him. Fountain of Youth? Yes. Bai Long wore a heavy frown. The Fountain of Youth had been passed down in ancient times by its creator, the Child Sovereign. Those that bathed in its waters will remain young and strong for all their lives, even in seniority. The Fountain of Youth helps one's heart as well, shedding away all worries and attaining inner peace. When humans cultivate in the fountain, their hearts will not be plagued by any negative emotions, heightening their insight towards a sovereign path to incredible degree. I believe that by taking the young sacred beasts there, they would reach their peak even faster. Zhuofan laughed. Not just them, but us as well. But will the dragon share it with us? Ha ha ha. Steward Zhua, you jest. The Fountain of Youth has long since left our hands. What's there to share? Wah. 500,000 years ago, the 7 sacred mountains stole it from us. By long side, it is now locked in the 7 sacred mountains, with only their most important people going in. Each sacred mountain takes up duty to protect it every year. There's no way for us to enter. But now we have the 2 young masters, and we can amass troops to raid the 7 sacred mountains, taking back the Fountain of Youth. Nodding, Zhuofan's eyes burned with battle lust. No matter where the Heavenly Sovereign is right now, we shall take the 7 sacred mountains first. Please return and be ready. I will work from my end. My thoughts exactly, Steward Zhua. Ha ha ha, the elders laughed and cupped their hands. They would finally get revenge on the 7 sacred mountains. After all these years of torment, they couldn't beat all 7 mountains. But with the sacred beasts calling the other spiritual beasts, the mountains wouldn't stand a chance. Zhuofan talked some more before sending them away. Yilin's group going as well? Only Qilong's wounds were a bit problematic, but Zhuofan had understanding of the Shadow Sovereign's path, and using reflection in shadows, he left all of them speechless as he performed miracles. He really is Dragon Ancestor's envoy. Zhuofan eased up with them gone, having found backing in the sacred domain at long last. He could go up against the 8 emperors without worry of other powers blocking him, not even the 7 sacred mountains. Chapter 1247, Takeover. Chapter 1247, Takeover. Proofreader, Papatonks. Demonic Emperor Sir, Steward Zhua is seeking an audience. What did you say? In Devil Mountain's large and glorious hall, a man in black kneeled before the stunned Zhao Chun. After hearing it a 3rd time he reacted, that's not possible. Didn't he die in the Nethersea? How show him in already? Yes. Zhuofan walked it with a wide smile, bowing. Demonic Emperor Sir, have you been well? Steward Zhua, you're still alive. Zhao Chun laughed and patted his shoulder. Great, my aid has come back to me. You have no idea how pained I was seeing you crushed. Nights have been hard. The memory is still fresh. Zhuo Fan sneered inside, but only showed a smile. You honor me, sir. Go on. Tell me, how did you get out? Zhao Qin's eyes grew suspicious. Zhuo Fan made an excuse. The Nether Sovereign has been an almighty being since ancient times, but he doesn't waste time on nobodies. Everything was but a test. As long as we didn't fear death, he'd let us go. A blessing in disguise. Zhao Qin sighed, then stuttered. Why is your cultivation at the third layer of qi condensation? Steward Zhuo? It was bad enough with only a bone-tempering cultivation, yet now you regressed? Zhuo Fan's regression was a joyous occasion, all thanks to understanding the sovereign paths and his broadened mentality. Zhuo Fan sighed. I had the fortune of passing the Nether Sovereign's trials through a fluke, but as I was so weak, the Nether energy corroded my cultivation. It must have been so hard on you, Steward Zhuo. Zhao Qin sighed. But since the Nether Sovereign let you go, he must have admired your talent. Is there no way of recovering from this? Zhuo Fan caught his meaning, fishing for anything that Zhuo Fan might have gotten from the Nether Sea, and wanting to get a bite himself. He finally got to what Zhuo Fan wanted, egging him on. Sir, is insightful to find out that the Nether Sovereign did give me a cultivation method right at the end. What is it? Zhuo Fan revealed a jade slip. The Nether script provided critical aid when my cultivation regressed. It says it can speed up cultivation and should recover my original level in 3 months. Cultivating further, it would be even faster. In 10 years, I'm sure to make some waves. So magical? Zhao Qin snatched the jade slip by reflex, uncaring that this was another's lifeline. He was no different from a thief. This was the attraction of a sovereign's items. With the whole world lusting after them, Zhuo Fan knew this all too well. Using it as bait, make another's cultivation efforts your own. Absorb it within you. Zhao Qin gasped. The sovereign's cultivation method is incredible. It can even do this? Yes, how else would you get instant results? Ha. Zhuo Fan said. It's a pity my cultivation is too low, and I can't take on much. I could only absorb 1 qi condensation cultivator a day. I can't have anyone else know as well, lest I earn public anger. Sir has to be careful. Zhao Qin was too thrilled to care. Yeah, very careful. Why would you show me such a dangerous thing? Aren't you afraid I would steal it and silence you? Steward Zhuo, you could never make such a basic mistake. Zhuo Fan stared hard at him. He was obsessed with the new cultivation method, but not enough to rob him of his mind. Zhuo Fan nodded. Sir is right. The cultivation art isn't a danger to just everyone, but to yourself as well. That's why I wish to share it. I don't need many resources now, but with time the demand will rise as soon as I grow in strength. I could never reveal my new strength, so I need Sir's help. Makes sense? Zhao Qin squinted at the jade slip. He knew exactly what resources Zhuo Fan needed, and that this cultivation method would incite hatred from everyone at the same time. The lure of power was too much for some to bear. A swift rise was impossible by common means, only through this art. No one wants to part with anything that comes from a sovereign's domain. Tracing the jade slip, Zhao Qin muttered, staring hard at Zhuo Fan. Steward Zhuo is right about one thing. Training in this art while avoiding suspicion will only work if you have me covering for you. But now that I have it, why should I help you? The less who know about this, the better. Zhao Qin exploded with power, filled with bloodthirst, and ready to silence Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan said casually, Demonic Emperor, sir, I wouldn't do that if I were you. And why not? Sir, you need far more resources than me. How many would you procure by yourself? You'll still need someone to help you out. That means letting someone know about this. Can you guarantee they won't sell you out? Zhao Qin furrowed his brow, his bloodlust deflated. Zhuo Fan smiled. If Sir is willing to trust me, I will help Sir in this aspect, training with Sir and becoming your accomplice. Exposing it will harm me as well, so we need to work together. Why then would Sir kill such a loyal helper and risk taking another that might betray you at any time? Steward Zhuo. Zhao Qin's eyes shook inside. You've thought of everything. I have no reason to strike you. Guard. Sir. A man in black rushed inside and bowed. Demonic Emperor, sir, what are your orders? Everything, my domain and Devil Mountain, are for Steward Zhuo to manage. His word is mine. Let everyone know. The guy flinched. Isn't that the same as making him the demonic emperor? All he is missing is a title. What if he goes for a takeover? If Shuofan's word is demonic emperors, what are you going to do, sir? Zhao Chen barked. I'm entering seclusion. Got that? Let Steward Zhua handle everything in my stead in the meantime. Oh, I see. Yes. The man rushed to carry his orders. Zhao Chun turned a snicker to Zhua Fan. Steward Zhua, all my resources are yours. Everything in my domain is at your fingertips. We are truly in the same boat. It'll be bad for both of us to let this leak out. Be careful, and don't be found out too soon. Sir, I also train with it. I won't let anyone call me a waste 30 years later. Ha ha, Zhua Fan cackled. Zhao Chen had a vile grin. Steward Zhua, no one says that. You're already frightening with your courage and guile, but you'll be a force to be reckoned with once you have power. Maybe then I'll even be afraid of you. You're too kind, sir. Zhua Fan bowed. Zhao Chen gave him a look, then laughed as he left. Zhua Fan is sharp to snatch people's weaknesses. Even so, once I get stronger, I won't have to fear any saint and can remove the punk and the danger. But I still need his skills for now. Chapter 1248, Expansion. Chapter 1248, Expansion. Proofreader, Papatonks. Excited to cultivate, Zhao Chun called for a few people on Devil Mountain to enter his chambers, only for them to scream in horrible agony as they died. Zhua Fan sneered from the outside, leaving for his own matters. Once he got out of the hall, the whole of Devil Mountain kneeled with utter respect. Greetings, Steward Zhua, endless fortunes and everlasting life. In just a few minutes, Devil Mountain knew Zhua Fan had become the demonic emperor's representative, promoted from the head of the 12 demon guards into the crown prince. Everyone conformed with this change, showering with flatteries. Zhua Fan beamed. One moment was all it took to lose everything, but I spent a century to gain it all back. Ha ha ha. Zhua Fan shook his head, flicking his hand. Every town and city within the demonic emperor's domain is to be ready for battle. In 3 months, we will go to war. Yes, sir. The huge crowd roared after Zhua Fan took power. All the cities under the demonic emperor had a change in management. The Luo clan's high officials were sent to rule them. With their many experts, the Luo clan gained swift control of every inch of Zhao Chen's lands. With the latter none the wiser, the demonic emperor had many city lords in the early to late emperor stage. But the Luo clan had scores of them, with a dozen even possessing obscene strength for their level. A bit of flexing and smashing was all they needed to establish their rule. 3 months. That was how long Zhua Fan took to usurp all power in the demonic emperor's domain. Zhao Chen would have a hard time getting everything back. Zhua Fan's plan to take over Zhao Chen's forces from the inside was achieved. Zhao Chun would surely shed tears if he knew. Alas, ignorance is bliss, oblivious to the Luo clan's true power. Otherwise, he would never have given so much power to Zhua Fan. Steward Zhua, we've taken everything from Zhao Chun and can remove him. No one will raise a fuss. Li Jingtian bowed to Zhua Fan in a hall, reporting the last 3 months' activities. Zhua Fan's eyes shone, smiling. Not yet. He still has uses. Did you send him cultivation resources? I have, but he demands more and more from you. So eager for quick gains, to drain them. Humph. Zhua Fan muttered. It's almost time. March on the Wraith Emperor and the Falcon Emperor's unmanned lands. We will challenge them this time and destroy them. Everyone bowed. Yes, sir. News of war spread like lightning throughout the sacred domain. Under Zhua Fan's command, the demonic emperor's army stormed the 2 emperors' lands. They stood no chance, with 10 cities falling in 3 days, butchering all people in their path. The demonic emperor's army was ruthless and terrifying. Damn you, Zhao Chen. Bam! The Falcon Emperor slammed a table. It's only been a couple days of peace and now another war starts? The punk was vicious last time as well, pushing us to fight the Enchanting Empress and Sword Emperor to wear each other out. We had no time to recover, and he's coming for us again. The Wraith Emperor frowned hard. We can deal with his treachery, but I fear there's someone even more cunning making things harder. Who? The Falcon Emperor gave him a look and exclaimed. You mean his new right hand, Zhua Fan? The Wraith Emperor sighed. Falcon Emperor, have you noticed how despite Zhao Chen's cunning, he was crude and easy to anger? Now though, Looking at the previous war and the current one, each step is taken with precise calculations from someone. It's like we're merely puppets dancing to his tune. Why do you say that? Think for a second. Why would the demonic emperor attack us both? Isn't it because he saved his strength last time? And how else did he do it if not by inviting the enchanting empress and sword emperor to fight for him? The 8 emperors have always been smart not to get involved in pointless affairs. But why did they join regardless? Who brought them? Zhuo Fan? The Falcon Emperor nodded. He didn't look like much when I saw him as we greeted the saints, but Zhao Chun has always kept him around. He has to be good at something. The Wraith Emperor continued. Yeah, he made a mess of things in the demonic emperor's stead, forcing both of our sides to lose. This time he's sending troops. I heard that the demonic emperor is in seclusion and gave all power to Zhuo Fan. It means the war was Zhuo Fan's idea, and not his master. The Falcon Emperor's beard shook as he slammed the table. He got some nerve, waging an 8 emperors war whenever he wants. The Wraith Emperor sighed. He really is reckless. For not even the demonic emperor would do this. There's no way an aide would do this. It's like he's the real demonic emperor. The Falcon Emperor gave him a long look and nodded yes. The only thing the punk is missing to step on the big stage is strength. Should we just remove him? The Wraith Emperor nodded with a nasty smirk. In a world of strength, being weak meant you were nobody, for anyone could just squash you. Even if you're great at everything else, ha ha ha. Before a room on Devil Mountain, Zhuo Fan bowed. Demonic Emperor, I've brought what you requested. Rumble. The stone door cracked open after a series of heavy sounds. Then Zhuo Fan stepped in. He grinned at the familiar room as the door closed behind him. A man wrapped in thick black energy sat in center, with a fervent gaze, that of a demented person after 3 months of cultivating. His aura took a darker and foul air, giving him a sinister vibe, like that of an abomination on the prowl for man flesh. He should be close to going mad at this rate. Zhuo Fan bowed. Demonic Emperor, sir. Zip it and give me the ingredients. Where are they? Zhao Chun barked, exposing an excited grin. Like that of a beast in a flash of azure, hundreds of people appeared. Unconscious, Zhao Chun said, so little? That's only 532. Where are the rest? Did you use them? You jest, sir. I can only take one a day at most. Why then, sir, so many people missing is bound to raise suspicions, especially when sir requires high-quality materials. Zhuo Fan smiled. Now that we're at war with the Falcon Emperor and Wraith Emperor, it will work as a good cover for any missing people. I'm slaughtering every city I come across, sending everyone there for sir's cultivation. Zhao Chun nodded. Good, very good. We're at war? Why yes, so that we get even more ingredients. War is the best way to fool everyone. Please don't blame me for going ahead with this. Zhuo Fan snickered. Zhao Chun squinted, nodding after a pause. It's fine. Nothing matters so long as you supply me with ingredients. Zhao Chun activated his cultivation method, and a dreadful black energy spilled over the people. It wrapped around them before returning over to him, leaving the people to crumble to dust. Zhuo Fan smiled as he left. Idiot, didn't you always want 9 Serenity's secret records? Now you're training in its core teaching, demon transformation art. Though I did leave one part out. Renounce your old art before training this one. The previous cultivation method would conflict with demon transformation art, and you'll be unable to grasp its essence, that all paths have the same destination. You're too rash in cultivating, taking so many lives and others' cultivation without even considering if there's a limit. It's only a matter of time before you suffer for your greed. That's why I didn't impart it to you back then. Now though, haha, have your fill? Chapter 1249, Worming Facts. Chapter 1249, Worming Facts. Proofreader, Papatonks. Zhao Chun was enveloped in black energy, his mind intoxicated and hazy. He could not see any issues with it because the power was just too strong, giving him a false feeling of control over the entire world as it grew thicker and thicker, promising him sainthood. Zhuo Fan sensed his scattered and wild aura. The increase was only in quantity and not quality, blocking any chance of becoming a saint. Zhuo Fan shook his head as he looked at the closed stone door. Steward Zhuo, the saint wants to meet you again. Li Jingtian had been waiting outside to give him a jade slip. Shuafan read it. Meeting? Saints sure are free, asking to see me right as I'm at war. Ugh, that damn He Xiaofeng again. Staying in Ruby Cloud sect still. Bam! Zhuofan crushed the jade slip to dust in anger. Bastard. He's after Qingqing again. Steward Zhua, will you go? Of course. The least I can do is show a saint proper respect. Show respect? Steward Zhua dealt with dragon, saints like nothing. Crushing an entitled saint brat should be as easy as snapping your fingers. Ha ha, Li Jingtian raised an eyebrow. Zhuofan smirked. Right you are. I have nothing to fear from the likes of He Xiaofeng, but I need to consider the bigger picture and lay low for now. Why do you say that? He Xiaofeng is an early saint, nobody important, but he has the 6th sacred mountain behind him. We've yet to hear any word from the dragons. Even with them joining us, it'll take time to gather all the spiritual beasts. We need to bide our time. Zhuofan's eyes shone. The 8 emperors aren't united. Being hostile to the sacred mountains now will surround us with enemies. 8 emperors? Li Jingtian jerked. What of it? Every Luo clan elder leading a team could mow them down. Won't that reveal us to the saints as well? Tapping his head, Zhuofan smiled. It will also scare them, turning from being pedantic to stooping to any low and retaliating against us. To resist the enemy, we need to secure our lands. Don't ever forget the lesson of the Sword Star Empire and Bailey Jingwei. By waging war with the sacred mountains, the 8 emperors would be sure to strike back. We have to make our lands strong as iron to avoid any problems. Li Jingtian nodded. Steward Zhua is thorough in the end. Then we'll take the 8 emperors' lands before anything. Yeah, we're to take their lands without them noticing our intentions and plan for it. Ha ha, Zhuofan snickered at the door behind him and left with Li Jingtian. Disciple, you betrayed your master and now you'll become bait, drawing everyone in. Whoosh. A month later, 3 people darted beneath the sun as they landed in a forest. Zhuofan, Li Jingtian and Qiu Yanhai looked at the Ruby Cloud sect's dazzling entrance. Zhuofan said, I'll go pay my respects and keep the saint and the hag busy while you stick to the plan. The rest are nothing. Understood. The 2 bowed. Zhuofan walked in, soon blocked by a few familiar figures. Head senior sister, it's been a while. How've you been? You don't get to call me that. Humph. Fangmin glared at him. Where's your guard? Zhuofan shrugged. Look at what you're saying. Do you think there's no one guarding me with my current status? They're only hiding in the shadows. Should I call them out? They may not be hundreds, but 180 there should be, each tough in their own right. I have no fear against some early spirit kings. Tisi, you're quite the show-off, for a useless demonic emperor dog. You're wrong about that. Even dogs differ among each other. I act in demonic emperor's stead. Can you say the same? While I'm a purebred prized poodle, you're just a flea-ridden mongrel. Ha ha ha. You. Fangmin grimaced in anger, wanting to kill him then and there. Zhuofan taunted further. I came to your sect at the saint's invitation. Touch me in any way, and not even your master can protect you. Fangmin shuddered and panted, straining to quell her rage. After you. That's better. You're only shaming the enchanting empress by failing to receive guests. Zhuofan snickered at their furious glares. Where's Qingqing anyway? Why don't I see her? Fangmin got her chance to strike back. You'll never get to see her again. Why do you say that? Zhuofan's heart tensed. Fangmin mocked. Junior sister has been promised to the saint, but the obstinate girl doesn't know what's good for her and refused. She even tried leaving, but master locked her up on the snow peak for the time when the saint takes her away. So you won't see junior sister ever again once she goes to the sacred mountains. Ha ha ha. Zhuofan nodded. Having taken this scenario into account and looked back, Li Jingtian and Qiu Yanhai gave him a signal. Zhuofan relaxed. Zhuofan taunted Fangmin, so she would let Chu Qingqing's situation slip. The chick was harsh but not too bright though, making it extra easy for him to deal with her. A few slick words got her to spill all of the sect's secrets. The enchanting empress has good taste in disciples. Zhuofan smirked, approving of Fangmin, who gave him an odd look. What's with him? I taunted him with Qingqing, yet he doesn't care? Head senior sister. Zhuofan said, why are you so happy that Qingqing is being taken to the sacred mountains? That place is a cultivator's dreamland. As I understand, you should be jealous and stewing in envy from not being picked instead of that dumb girl. What does she have that I don't? Looking at looks, figure, cultivation, and you'd probably on par, no? Ha ha ha, no wonder there are no men around. PFF. The other disciples giggled with red faces. Fang Min glared and gnashed her teeth, cutting their joy short. You're right. Fang Min sighed. Chu Qingcheng has never been stronger than me, ever. But Master always spoiled her, giving her everything. The saint also picked her, not even giving me a second glance. Am I so bad? Is she that much better? I don't think so. You agree to? Then why do you all go after her? Objectively speaking, you're better in every way, but one. Which one? Birth. Zhuofan's eyes shone because she was and still is Qingcheng. Her birth made him protect her without fail. It was also her birth, having a sovereign path that made the enchanting empress and saint value her immensely. You could never catch up to her with such a circumstance. Fang Min didn't get it, birth? Isn't she just an orphan? What's so special about her? Master just took her in, is all. Very special indeed. Zhuofan was grave. Let me be frank with you. You can never match her background, not even your master. Do you believe me when I tell you that she can make He Xiaofeng destroy Ruby Cloud Sect? Even the 8 emperors, the guy would definitely fulfill her every wish to win her smile. How is this possible? Fang Min was dumbstruck. Stop fooling around. A saint would never spoil his girl that much. The 8 emperors in the sacred domain are like the sacred mountains to them. Their death will bring chaos. This isn't spoiling, it's about worth. What does it matter if the world burns, so long as Qingcheng smiles? Zhuofan gave an eerie grin. This is her background, the one that can topple cities. Why else would she be Chu Qingcheng? Ha ha ha. Smiley face. Qingcheng means city-toppling beauty. They arrived before the sect's main hall. Zhuofan entered with a smile, leaving the girls stumped behind. Is Qingcheng that important? Just who is she? Chapter 1250. Rescue. Chapter 1250. Rescue. Proofreader. Papatonks. Who? The violent winds carried with them icy snow, pelting the entrance of a mountain cave. Chu Qingcheng had a lost gaze as she stared at the dancing snow. She finally sighed with a lowered head. A woman that had aged with grace sat on a flat stone outside the cave with closed eyes. She was like a statue. Even as the snow landed on her body, Chu Qingcheng stood up and walked outside. She made a sign and struck bam. The entire peak trembled, with snow falling from it in every direction. Chu Qingcheng recoiled, falling on the ground with a red face. The entrance of the cave now sported a shimmering wall, vanishing right after the woman shook and all the snow on her fell. Mei Sangu shook her head at the stubborn Chu Qingcheng. I'm sorry that I let you go out the first time. I hoped you'd learn of the world, not have some wicked brat make you lose your way to the point you disobey your seniors. Senior Aunt May, please let me go. I don't want to go to Sacred Mountain. Why? Sacred Mountain has anything a cultivator could want. They lead the sacred domain. All of your sisters are dying to go. You are blessed with incredible fortune and yet cast it aside. Can't you tell right from wrong? Then let them go instead. Why do I have to go? Chu Qingcheng was forlorn. I don't care about cultivation or growing stronger, because I don't want to go. Mei Sanga could read her heart. Are you still thinking about that brat? Qingcheng, did he enchant you, or give you something for you to fall so badly after just seeing him a couple of times? I don't know either. Chu Qingcheng watched the dancing snow with a happy smile. Ever since I saw him, I felt drawn to him by familiarity, wanting to be with him forever. I don't care where I'll be and what it'll happen, so long as we're together. Just let me go, Senior Aunt May. Pa. Mei Sanga sighed, face-palming. Qingcheng, you're hopeless. It's Senior Sister who placed the barrier, so even I can't break it, but I wouldn't do it even if I could. It's not just for you, but the boy as well. Think for a moment. A saint has his eyes on you. Do you think he'll get away alive? I don't know how the saint will treat you, but it's certain that he will kill him and the Luo clan. He managed to gain status under the demonic emperor, but can he still withstand the sacred mountain's pressure? By going with him, you're sentencing the Luo clan to death. If you truly love him, think about his well-being instead of ruining everything for a brief moment of joy. Chu Qingcheng lowered her head, but she was still vehement. Why does it have to be me? There are so many stronger senior sisters in the sect. Why did that blind saint insist on me? He might really be blind, no, him. Forget I said that. I mean that the saint has special tastes. This is your chance. Chu Qingcheng clenched her fists, but slumped in the end as she sighed. Mei Sangu chuckled. She finally gave up. Ha ha ha. Whoosh. Mei Sanga jerked, still slow to react as a figure grabbed her by the neck and prevented her from using her strength. Another figure flashed behind her and struck the back of her neck. Mei Sangu slumped. Unconscious, Chu Qingcheng cried out, "Senior Aunt? Miss Chu, Steward told us not to harm anyone in Ruby Cloud sect. You can relax." The two figures were utterly respectful towards her. Chu Qingcheng stammered. You mean Zhuo Fan sent you? Yes, I am Li Jingtian, a Luo clan venerable, tasked by Steward Zhuo to rescue you. I am Qiu Yinhai, also a venerable. The two cupped their hands and smiled. Chu Qingcheng gave a nod. I know you. You were with Zhuo Fan in Gambling Town. Did Zhuo Fan really send you to save me? Yes. The two echoed. Chu Qingcheng cheered up. How did he know I was kept here? Did my sisters tell him? Miss Chu, your sisters aren't that kind. Steward was uncanny foresight. Let us know of the sacred mountains. Deal with your master after your rebirth. It's the only explanation for their treatment of you. Li Jingtian sneered. Chu Qingcheng's heart sank. She looked up to her master as her own mother. But master made a deal to give me over to the sacred mountains? Her heart was torn with grief, making her joy plunge in sadness. Li Jingtian saw she was silent and said, Miss Chu, please stand back. We'll break the barrier and don't want to harm you. Steward Zhuo will never forgive us. Oh, thank you. Chu Qingcheng woke up from her thoughts and took a couple steps back. Seniors, master placed the barrier. Please be careful not to get hurt. Hurt? As peak emperors, these guys only feared Danqing Shan and his group with their monstrous power. The two just chuckled. Qiu Yinhai's hand flashed with a searing flame, shouting, Oldly, the hags used an ice seal, weak to my attribute. I'm more than enough. Stand back. Qiu Yinhai struck with his palm, making it explode in a blistering red hum. The invisible barrier vanished on the spot. The heat stormed the cave, drying Chu Qingcheng's soft skin and even making her hair curl. Qiu Yinhai panicked and bowed. Forgive me, miss. I used too much strength. You aren't hurt, are you? No. Chu Qingcheng shook her head, amazed at his skill. Senior, you're incredible. Not even Senior Aunt could remove Master's barrier, but you did it like nothing. Are you stronger than Master? Qiu Yinhai grinned in pride. Miss is too kind. I'm not that great. Not when there are others in the Luo clan far stronger than me. As for your master and seniors, I can handle them. Ha ha ha. I actually overestimated your master just now and used half my strength. A third would have sufficed. You're that much stronger than master? How can this be? Master is one of the 8 emperors. Chu Qingcheng was shocked at Qiu Yinhai's confidence and bragging. He even said that the Luo clan had many more better than him. Why are they relying on the demonic emperor if the Luo clan can handle the 8 emperors? Was there a clan in this world ever able to surpass the 8 emperors besides the sacred mountains? Chu Qingcheng was utterly confused. Qiu Yinhai grinned. But Li Jingtian cut his showboating short. Steward gave us a job. Let's save her and go. Oh, right. Miss, come with us. It's now or never. Qiu Yinhai rushed to Chu Qingcheng. She then recalled something and stepped away from Qiu Yinhai. The two were puzzled. Miss, what's wrong? You go. I'm staying. Tell Zhuo Fan that fate keeps us apart. Why? If you take me, you'll become enemies with Ruby Cloud sect and even get the sacred mountains to attack you. I could never forgive myself for getting all your clan killed. Chu Qingcheng's shoulder slumped. Zhuo Fan earned his master's recognition in becoming steward, but I won't harm the Luo clan and him because of me. Go and tell him to not look for me again and not use his status carelessly. Li Jingtian smiled. They snatched her either way and fled. Chu Qingcheng cried out and Li Jingtian shouted, Miss Chu, Steward has all that taken care of. We don't care about some puny sacred mountains anyway, ha ha ha. Chapter 1251, Sacred Mountains Decision. Chapter 1251, Sacred Mountains Decision. Proofreader, Papatonks. The two rushed away with Chu Qingqing in tow, yet not out of Ruby Cloud sect, instead slipping near the main hall. A patrol of disciples passed by, and the two knocked them out without a sound. What are you doing? Chu Qingqing whispered. Li Jingtian waved off her concern. Miss Chu, they're fine. Make sure to stay quiet and follow me. The two venerables led her to a hidden spot. Chu Qingcheng was baffled, but trusted them since they harmed no one. They reached a hidden part of the wall of the building and looked in through the window. Steward Zhua, you've drunk a dozen cups already? Can we start already? Master? Chu Qingqing gave the two an odd look. Seeing them grave, she could only refocus on the scene inside the hall, where He Xiaofeng, her master, and Zhua Fan, where Zhua Fan placed his teacup down. This should be enough. I've stalled for an hour now. Should I keep going? Enchanting Empress, your maiden tea is delightful. I can't get enough of it. Steward Zhua, Lord Saint called you here to discuss, not chat over tea. The Enchanting Empress's face was dark, glaring at Zhua Fan. It all started as courtesy, showing him hospitality, but this guy kept fussing over the tea being too cold or too hot. Then he stuffed himself with snacks, only to ask for a potty break. He was wasting time, no doubt about it, not wanting to get to it. We're all civilized people here, men of status that know courtesy, so being polite was only natural. But this? Zhua Fan had been milking their courtesy for an hour now. The two didn't know what he was playing, but their patience was running thin, unable to keep their calm. Bam. Zhua Fan slammed the teacup down, raging. Humph, Enchanting Empress, is this how you treat guests? Can't a guy enjoy a nice warm tea around here? Is this Ruby Cloud sex hospitality? You've had 18 of them. He Xiaofeng's face twitched, snapping. This is the 6th time you used that pretext. Can't you at least change your script? You might like this agitation, but we don't. What are you trying to pull? Zhua Fan beamed bashfully. That many? Ha ha ha, sorry, I didn't keep count. Though could I get a refill? Enough. He Xiaofeng slammed the table. Zhua Fan, I've never seen a more revolting person in my life. I know what your game is, but no matter how much you stall, it won't work. It's time you give me an explanation. Why is the demonic emperor attacking two emperors without reason? Zhua Fan shrugged. The whole of the sacred domain knows it, even the Enchanting Empress. The two emperors were at odds with the demonic emperor and waged war. If not for Lord Saint interfering, it would have been over by now. Later, Saint took the Nether Sea map, then went back. Sir doesn't have to mix in our squabbles. It's the Sacred Mountains decision, not requiring discussion with anybody, especially with you. He Xiaofeng unleashed his strong aura filled with bloodthirst. Zhua Fan sneered inside. He can flip out all he wants now. Humph. The Enchanting Empress intervened. Sir Saint, think of everything. If Qingcheng finds out about his death, it will make things worse. It'll be bad if she takes her life. He Xiaofeng quelled his seething anger. The Enchanting Empress said, Steward Zhua, I know you wield all of the demonic emperor's forces, with Zhao Chan in seclusion. It's brave of you to go against two emperors in the demonic emperor's name, but once he comes out, he will make you answer for it. Nothing Enchanting Empress needs to concern herself with. All I do is for the demonic emperor. I started the war with Sir's approval. There's no point in you interfering, ha ha ha. Steward Zhua, you're burning bridges? The Enchanting Empress mocked. The demonic emperor has the power to fight those two because I and the Sword Emperor wore them out. While you two stood by and watched, we took heavy losses. I can overlook this, but now you want us to stand back? That's not very honest. But it is, since our deal is done. You got your Nether Sea map, so what are you lacking? I don't care about your squabbles. You are forbidden from fighting. He Xiaofeng slammed the table again. The 8 emperors are about to change. A few disciples will come down from sacred mountains, replacing some of the 8 emperors. It's unclear who it will be. It's too soon for you to fight for more land. Zhua Fan said, replace the 8 emperors? Are you kidding me? The 8 emperors represent sacred mountains, but they are outside of it. They come from every corner of the sacred domain and understand it best. Those entitled saints don't know the first thing about the sacred domain situation. They lack the experience to handle local factions and quell chaos. It'll be a miracle if the sacred domain won't burn to the ground. It won't be of benefit to anyone, including the sacred mountain's supply. There's sure to be accidents. Are you looking down on us? That's no disdain, but fact. Zhua Fan's eyes shone. The sacred domain is a world where the strong rule, but for them to form their faction, they need the skill set for it, to know how to draw people in and feel at ease as their power grows. With the sacred mountains merely observing from above, they don't know anything about how things work down below. With a few reckless commands, the sacred domain's order will be broken, with the people crushed and suffering. Enchanting Empress was touched, with He Xiaofeng sneering, "No one will stir anything when we come down. We can even replace the 8 emperors with pigs, and there'll still be no objection. You guys only have pigs? You dare disgrace the sacred mountains?" He Xiaofeng roared. The Enchanting Empress rushed to stop him, advising, "Steward Zhua, we have no say in the sacred mountains' decision. Their disciples have incredible talent and might be qualified for our positions. Over time, they will gain their experience and become able lords." Humph, able, you say? When they can't reach sainthood with those top cultivation methods and mountains of resources thrown at them. Zhua Fan mocked, even making them into the 8 emperors. While time can give them experience, their mindset will never change. Did they rise from the bottom? Will they listen to others' suggestions? A bunch of pompous pricks will sooner or later destroy everything. Using the sacred domain's turmoil to raise their own people is so kind of the sacred mountains, humph. Zhua Fan mocked. He Xiaofeng sneered, and the Enchanting Empress sighed also. Zhua Fan continued, "Enchanting Empress, they'll send a few to replace the 8 emperors, but next time there will be even more. At some point, all will be replaced. The only land ruled by bottom cultivators will turn over into the hands of those high and mighty from the sacred mountains. Then there will be no end to our torment. The same goes for you as well. It's only a matter of time before only the sacred mountains could produce saints, taking all the highest positions." He Xiaofeng mocked, "And isn't it now the same?" "Of course not. The 8 emperors have a share of resources left from the sacred domain, giving hope of creating some saints. But once the sacred mountains take everything, this little hope will be crushed. What chance do cultivators born outside the sacred mountains ever have of reaching the top? Blame it on their birth, for being born elsewhere?" He Xiaofeng had a sinister smirk. "No matter how antagonistic the 8 emperors are, they are to stay put. You can resume once the replacements are here. The other emperors should get word of it soon. No one gets to disobey, not even the demonic emperor, let alone a nobody like you." Zhua Fan's eyes shone with bloodthirst. He came to see He Xiaofeng for another reason. But the sacred mountain's decision infuriated him in both of his lives. He had clawed his way from the bottom, his pride making him never lower his head to anyone, not even the sacred mountains, for he believed that one day he would surpass those fools. He didn't have anywhere near the resources they had, but he made up for it with effort. This decision, however, would make the common people lose all hope. The resources would be under tight control, and even reaching sainthood would only be possible if the sacred mountains allowed it. There would be no hope to become strong. He didn't know what got the sacred mountains to go crazy and issue such a decision, but Zhua Fan would be sure to never let them succeed. "I need to speed up taking down the 8 emperors." Chapter 1252, History. Chapter 1252, History. Proofreader, Papatonks. Taking a deep breath to calm down, Zhua Fan's gaze went cold. He Xiaofeng waved him off with scorn. "Go tell the demonic emperor to stop and change his aide. Or the first replacement might just be his, ha ha ha. Saint, are you trying to get me fired?" "No, I just dislike mavericks." "Then you shouldn't complain when I overstep." "Overstep?" He Xiaofeng taunted. "You're threatening me now?" "Haha, with what?" Zhua Fan smirked. "Oh, I don't know. Ching ching? Chu ching chung." He Xiaofeng laughed harder. "Her? Save it. No girl can ever affect me. Actually, I'm going to threaten you with her. Your defiant nature would have gotten you killed by now, even if you were one of the 8 emperors. You're only breathing because I don't want her to know. Once I take her to the sacred mountains, you best watch out, ha ha ha. Chu Qingcheng was furious. This was his plan all along, and I almost trusted him. Zhuofan looked back with a smile. Saint Sir, you're too scornful of me. As a puny cultivator, I didn't get into the demonic emperor's good graces by luck alone. You think I'm like you, gambling with a girl's feelings? Too risky. Well, do you have anything else? Of course, Zhuofan snickered. The reason why you must have Chu Qingcheng. Xiaofeng shook and grew heavy. The enchanting empress panicked. Zhuofan, you can't spout nonsense. Lord Saint came from the sacred mountains for the first time. He passed by the Ruby Cloud sect, found Qingcheng stunning, and was drawn to her. A gentleman and a lady would make for a great couple. That's why he wanted to take her. Yeah, it's that simple. Xiaofeng added. Zhuofan beamed. Let's be honest here, since there's only 3 of us. That's an excuse for everyone else to hide the truth and a terrible secret about Qingcheng's history. History? The two cried out, with Xiaofeng looking hateful. What do you know? I know something, but enough. Hee. Zhuofan gave a sneaky smile. 100 years ago, the sky changed, an omen of great significance. It happened to be Qingcheng's birth nearby Ruby Cloud sect. The enchanting empress went over at once and knew the girl was special, covered in a prismatic glow, taking her for a disciple. Since it was too important, she silenced everyone that knew anything about her, including her parents. Chu Qingcheng held her mouth, unable to believe her ears. The enchanting empress grew dark, cursing. Zhuofan, stop vilifying. Enchanting empress, why so nervous? Allow me to finish first. Zhuofan continued. The enchanting empress sneaked Qingcheng into the sect to raise her, telling only her backer, the 6th Sacred Mountains Lord. The Lord knew taking the girl would draw unneeded attention, so he set it up for his son to marry her 100 years later. That would get the girl on the mountain with none the wiser. A perfect match between a gentleman and a lady? No, ha ha ha. Xiaofeng's face twitched and barked, rubbish. Why would we do this to Qingcheng? Because you found an ancient and scary record. That she is related to a sovereign path. Zhuofan shouted. Xiaofeng pointed at him in shock. How do you know that? The sacred mountains aren't the only ones with ancient records. No, impossible. We only found bits and pieces in our ancient records. Yet your Luo clan under the demonic emperor has. Young master he. The enchanting empress' sharp voice stopped him, but it was too late. Zhuofan taunted. What did I tell you? The sacred mountains entitled princelings have nothing to them other than their huge backers. That sentence proves everything. Try denying it now. You bastard. You goaded me. Xiaofeng was outraged and filled with bloodthirst. Chu Qingcheng can't protect you anymore. You know too much. Zhuofan didn't care. He was about to attack. My man-child of a prince, this is your fault. Knowing things doesn't mean death. Try anything, and tomorrow, all of the sacred domain will hear about this. Everyone will be fighting over Chu Qingcheng. What worth would the 6th sacred mountain be then? Did you forget about the rest of the mountains? Ha ha ha. A bunch of decrepit old fools stuck at peak sainthood will be sure to go crazy at the mere hope of reaching the sovereign stage. Xiaofeng shuddered, glaring at Zhuofan with loathing. The enchanting empress was grave, though amazed at the same time. She cowered before the saints like all the other 8 emperors. But this kid went and toyed with him, but having leverage on a saint could burn him to ashes at some point. He's playing with his life. It would keep him safe for now, but disaster would come in the end. The 6th sacred mountain would not forget this, destroying him and the Luo clan. To hide this secret, the enchanting empress continued. I've been cautious to not let anything leak when I did it. How did you find out? The enchanting empress just admitted to everything. Chu Qingcheng was about to cry in shock, but Li Jingtian held her mouth. With faint sobs sounding as tears streamed down. Her master killed her parents. You weren't too careful. Someone played dead and escaped. Qingcheng asked me to help her find her history, so I did. Zhuofan smirked. He had not the slightest clue, just guesswork. But this proved enough for the two to buy it and admit to everything. Now he could go after Qingcheng's sect without issues. The enchanting empress frowned. No, I made sure nobody escaped. There's no way that happened. Are you sure? Why else would he know so much? He Xiaofeng cursed. What do you want to keep silent? Zhuofan shrugged. I'll tell you when I figure it out. But I hope nothing bad will happen to the Luo clan and the demonic emperor due to the Sacred Mountain's decision. Zhuofan left then, laughing just before exiting. You're nothing but an idiot saint. You're not even close to challenging me. Damn it. Bam. He Xiaofeng crushed the table. I'm the young lord of the 6th Sacred Mountain, yet I can't even touch that blasted bug. This kid is truly frightening. The enchanting empress sighed, waiting for He Xiaofeng to calm down before smiling. He's only clever, while beneath you in every other way. He Xiaofeng's face twitched, with blood leaking from his mouth. Curses, he is nothing compared to me at all. Is that how you intend to flatter me? Master, this is bad. A disciple burst in. Master, our sisters have suffered an attack and 50 people are unconscious. 50 people unconscious without any sign of who did it? They must be incredible. Search the sect. Yes. The disciple rushed out, just as another entered. Master, Senior Aunt Mei was found unconscious and Junior Sister Qingqing is missing. What? He Xiaofeng roared. Chu Qingqing is my sweetheart, raised for 100 years for me alone. I won't have this. I will slaughter any that had a part in this. He Xiaofeng vanished before anyone could stop him. Chapter 1253, Dropping Off. Chapter 1253, Dropping Off. Proofreader, Papatonks. Whoosh. In a dense forest, Zhuofan waited as Li Jingtian and Qiu Yinhai showed up with Chu Qingqing, Steward Zhua. No need for courtesy. Zhuofan only looked at Chu Qingqing, understanding her pain. Qingqing, that's how it is. Don't feel sad. It's all in the past now. Chu Qingqing felt devastated. Hugging him hard, Zhuofan, I have no one. I don't have parents and now my master is a brutal murderer. There, aren't I still here? Rubbing her back, Zhuofan softly said, the hag is a pretender, now you know. It's good that you're finally leaving her. Just tell me how you want her handled, and I'll help you. Chu Qingqing hesitated. The enchanting empress had taken care of her for 100 years, and was also her master. She couldn't forsake everything just like that. Even with this betrayal, Zhuofan was happy with ruining their relationship. Chu Qingqing's attachment to the enchanting empress had hindered Zhuofan's plans for so long. But now he was free to act. Chu Qingqing wouldn't like to know he would kill the hag, but she wouldn't go against it. Zhuofan patted her back, consoling her. You go with them to the Luo clan, where it is safe so that guy won't take you. Chu Qingqing nodded. Zhuofan was now her only lifeline. Take Miss Chu and protect her at all times. Yes. The elders bowed and held Chu Qingqing's arms before shooting off. Zhuofan grinned. Minutes later, He Xiaofeng was darting everywhere to look for any clues. Bastard. He stalled on purpose to confuse me. I won't fall for it. I will catch you and make mincemeat out of you. I will get Qingqing back. Whoosh. A figure blocked his path, making him jerk to a stop. Sir Saint, where are you going? Zhuofan chuckled with cupped hands. He Xiaofeng barked. Rotten filth, get lost. This doesn't concern you. It's our greatest honor to serve you, Saint. Tell me what it is, sir, and I may be of help. I'm a saint, dominating the whole of the sacred domain. What could you possibly do to help me? Get lost before I lose my patience. Don't think for a second that you can show off just because you know my secret that I can't kill you. Know that I can give you a fate worse than death. Oh, I see. Then please enlighten me. Ha ha, Zhuofan snickered. Standing there and blocking his path, He Xiaofeng popped a vein. Fine, you asked for it, so don't come crying to me later. Who? He Xiaofeng unleashed his mighty saint powers, putting all his pressure on Zhuofan. The dreadful aura would have put normal emperors out of commission from the heavy wounds. Zhuofan stood like it was a breeze that fell on him. A vortex of black energy on him dissipated the saint's power, fully absorbing it. How can this be? He Xiaofeng gasped in utter shock. You're just a bug. Yet you can wait. You're not in the qi condensation stage? How else can you fly? Zhuofan snickered. There's no way a qi condensation cultivator could fly, let alone block half your pressure. They'd be crushed to pieces instead of still talking to you. Why you were laying low. He Xiaofeng gaped, then turned grave. What cultivation do you have? Around the peak of the Emperor's stage. Humph, I see. Not bad, but still nowhere close to my level. He Xiaofeng relaxed, his pride once again stoked. You still dare block me? Beat it already. He Xiaofeng shot for Zhuofan, using all his power, wanting to run him through. A saint had the power to do that against an emperor, for sure. Though he wasn't against any normal emperor, He Xiaofeng clashed with something that felt like a wall. Stopping him in his tracks, he looked up with shock to find a hand grabbing him. How is this possible? He Xiaofeng was overwhelmed. An emperor stopped me with one hand? Bam! Zhuofan's Qilin arm flicked him 1,000 meters away, making him tumble around. When he recovered, he was grave. What the hell are you? Luo clan steward, Zhuofan. Zhuofan smirked, his calmness making even his surroundings tranquil. He Xiaofeng was scared. To have such an easy time stopping him meant he had incredible power. I really underestimated him. He Xiaofeng frowned and clenched his fist's sacred body. Chapter 1254, Wrong Guess. Chapter 1254, Wrong Guess. Proofreader, Papatonks. Bang! He Xiaofeng slammed hard into the ground, his body broken in every way. Worse, his soul was severely injured, needing a decade to pull himself together. But now, he didn't have any strength left in him. Just like a bug, even a foundation establishment stage could slap him into the beyond. Who? Zhuofan drifted down. Looking down at his victim with a sinister smile, He Xiaofeng was trembling in fear. Why, you're not human. You're a monster, spiritual beast, or a dragon. I'm a saint, the strongest human. How can you destroy my sacred body without even an imperial mark? Ha ha ha, you're right, though a bit off. Zhuofan shook his head. I'm half beast, but not a dragon or spiritual beast. The sacred beast, decimating dragon ancestor, remolded my body with his scale, making it unbreakable. This right hand comes from a soaring Qilin leg. In the Nether Sea, I gained guidance from the tyrant emperor. I hardly need to use anything to deal with an early saint bigot like you. My foundation is leagues above you. What? He Xiaofeng gaped. You have so many ancient experts behind you. Just who are you? Former demonic emperor Zhuo Yifan, current Luo clan steward, Zhuofan. Zhuofan smiled. As for the process of my second coming, I'll leave that a secret. Gulp. He Xiaofeng stammered, demonic emperor Zhuo Yifan. I heard he got 9 Serenity's sovereign's cultivation method, and that's why you could avoid that calamity. Right, but it was too late. What are you doing? He Xiaofeng shuddered in fear. Zhuofan snickered. What, you ask? Isn't it obvious? I just spilled my greatest secrets, and shouldn't you offer the same consideration? See consideration? Right, show some consideration by sharing as well. Zhuofan smirked, raising a hand that oozed black energy, placing it on his head. I lay my heart open to you, so you must die. Since dead men tell no tales. Bye, Sir Saint. Wish you great fortune to be born in the sacred mountains again, unlike me, to come from the bottom rung. Though I don't mind, since my base birth allowed me to send you, of lofty birth, to reincarnate, ha ha ha. And no, don't act. Wails of pain shuddered the forest as black energy spread out. When Zhuofan stood, he was surrounded by dust and rags taken by the wind. Zhuofan eased a breath. A saint sure has a strong cultivation. It's good that I've not used demon transformation art for a while. I'll need a few days to consolidate. I'd rather avoid ending up like the traitor Zhaochuan. Ha ha ha. Whoosh. Zhuofan's ear twitched at the sound and vanished. You came just in time to report to the 6th sacred mountain. Humph. Whoosh. The enchanting empress landed and looked around. Strange. I just saw Saint's sacred body around here. Where is he? Master. Ruby Cloud sect disciples arrived as well. We've looked around, but there's no sign of anyone. The enchanting empress nodded and hesitated. Is the battle over, and so they scattered? There's not a body around. So that means the one taking Qincheng couldn't be stopped by a saint? Won't it mean they have a saint as well? The enchanting empress stepped on something that caught her attention. The dust as well as bits of familiar clothing. This. The enchanting empress cried out in utter shock. This is the saint's clothing. What is it doing here? Did he get killed? SSS. The enchanting empress gasped in fear. Her knees softened and slumped to the ground shell-shocked. This is really bad. The sixth sacred mountain's young lord died in the Ruby Cloud sect's domain. Then the Lord will take it out on me. Disciples, gather everyone around at once. We'll report to the sixth sacred mountains. 2 weeks later, on the sixth sacred mountain, in a quaint and huge study, a middle-aged man with twin mustaches held dust and scraps of clothing in his hand with red eyes. The man exploded with a vicious aura, pulverizing his desk and everything in the room. The shivering, enchanting empress was sent flying and coughed blood. Who did this? Why was my son the only one to suffer in the 8 emperors' lands? The middle-aged man roared, snapping his bloodshot eyes on the enchanting empress, flashing in her face and grabbing her hair. He howled in her ear. Enchanting empress, explain yourself. What happened? Why did my son suffer in your sect? Mountain Lord, young lord's fate had nothing to do with me. We didn't do it. Of course I know that, so stop wasting my time. You don't have what it takes. Bam! The enchanting empress got thrown into a wall as the man raged. I'm asking you who killed my son in your sect's domain? You better have an answer, or I'll wipe the Ruby Cloud sect from the sacred domain. Mountain Lord, we will investigate this and report to you. The enchanting empress kneeled again in terror. The middle-aged man held his head with grief. Fenger, you suffered so much, not even leaving a body behind. Fenger, I thought Chu Qingcheng would be great for you in understanding sovereign stage. But now I shall never see you again. What of your disciple then? What happened to her? If she's devastated, I can't allow her entrance into the sacred mountain as a widow. She, enchanting empress, stammered. The man turned frosty. What about her? Hasn't she been getting close to Fenger? Doesn't she care if he died? Humph, absurd. A sacred mountain young lord shows his care and she doesn't want it? She just doesn't know her own fortune. Fine, since there's nothing there, I'll still allow her on sacred mountain as my daughter-in-law, for being with Fenger for so long. But better have her clean her act as a devastated widow. That's the only way to move me and allow her in without raising suspicion to the other mountains. Did I make myself clear? Mountain Lord, beside the point. The enchanting empress's face shook hard. The man gave her a long look. Not the point. Then what is it? I'm not asking her to truly feel for my son. Just act like it to fool others. What's so hard about that? How did you teach her all these years to not manage a disciple? No, Mountain Lord. I do know how to manage my disciples and guide them after so many years together. But, what? But she has to be present first? The man went blank, his grief all but lost. What's that supposed to mean? You're not saying. The enchanting empress lowered her head. She was actually so in love with Fenger that she took her life? The man's mind went wild with guesses. The enchanting empress blinked. Lost? Took her life? Qingcheng and your son barely know each other. Aren't you overestimating your son's charm here? The enchanting empress' silence made the man angrier. You're such a disappointment. How could you not watch your disciple? We've been raising this prize pig for a century. Even with my son gone, she shouldn't have been harmed. Damn hag, give me back my prize pig. The man clutched the enchanting empress' neck with fury in his eyes. He cared more for Chu Qingcheng than for his son. Mountain Lord, listen to me. Qingcheng is fine. The enchanting empress' hoarse voice barely got through. The guy perked up and let her go. Then what was that about? I thought. She isn't here because someone took her. Enchanting empress said. The man's face shook. Then he clutched the enchanting empress's neck again, but even tighter. Chapter 1255. The Demonic Emperor Acts. Chapter 1255. The Demonic Emperor Acts. Proofreader. Papatonks. Cough. The enchanting empress pawed at his cold hand and coughed for air. Mountain Lord, spare me. Wretched stinking hag. You can't do anything right. The man gnashed his teeth. My son died near your place, and then you lost the prize pig I had you raise for a century. So you tell me what you deserve. The enchanting empress held her sore neck, stammering, Mountain Lord. Qingcheng is only missing. We just have to get her back. It's better than being dead. As if, bam, throwing her into the groan again, he snapped, "I'd be happier if she took her life because of my son. Now she's gone and my son is dead. Not only did I lose everything, but there's not an ounce of feeling between them. Have you any idea of the heartbreak I'm going through? I thought you felt none, as a practical man." The enchanting empress bowed, keeping that bit to herself as she said, "Please restrain your grief, Mountain Lord. Cut the crap. I want to know everything. What is going on and how you lost Qingcheng? Talk or die." The man demanded. The enchanting empress bowed and reported how he Xiaofeng called a Zhuofan over to warn him, only for the latter to know everything. Not long after Zhuofan left, we discovered unconscious disciples in the sect and Qingcheng missing. Young Lord rushed in pursuit, and I was unaware it would be the last time I got to witness the young Lord's genius, kindness, and amiable nature. "Oh, the sorrow. Stop crying." The Mountain Lord snapped at her. "I know exactly what my son was, least of all amiable. You're only crying for my sake." The enchanting empress gave a dry smile. Mountain Lord so insightful. But the young lord had many people's respect. Ha ha ha. Ignoring the blatant flattery, the man said, "So it all happened after Zhuofan left? Isn't he related?" That can't be." The enchanting empress shook her head. "Why not?" "Mountain Lord, Zhuofan is the demonic emperor's right-hand man. He is beyond resourceful, but he's as weak as a bug, in the bone-tempering stage. He'd have long since been reduced to fertilizer if not for the protection his high status offered. Young Lord was a saint that no bug could even touch. It's not possible." "Then the ones around him?" Mountain Lord squinted. 8 emperors shook her head still. "Mountain Lord, the Luo clan sought shelter with the demonic emperor. They can't have any experts. They are at least beneath the demonic emperor. While the one that took Qingcheng moved like the wind, rendering Mei Sangu, my junior sister, unconscious without even reacting. This is the level of 8 emperors, at the least. The Luo clan couldn't have done it. And, yes, when we were at the sect, I saw the young lord's sacred body, but by the time we got there, no one was there. This proves that the young lord's fight was swift. Mountain Lord, the only one able to kill the young lord so fast is a saint. The 8 emperors could never do this." Mountain Lord nodded. "Yeah, you're right about that. But who did it? To kill Fenger in a blink, one must have mid-saint power." "Maybe." "Mountain Lord, did you find out? There's one faction that has such power, the Dragon Saints." Mountain Lord squinted. "The 7 sacred mountains and the dragons are at odds, but it's been years since we intersected. They're avoiding any conflict. They could never have struck my son. Maybe the young lord's immense pride provoked them. No, I warned him not to ever touch those lizards." Mountain Lord denied her guess. "If not the dragons, then the other sacred mountains? Has Chu Qingcheng's secret leaked?" The two shared a look and nodded. This was the most plausible explanation. Zhuofan had the biggest motive to take her, but not the strength. Leaving the two crossing him out, the matters were becoming complicated. With them unable to figure out who was behind it, they believed He Xiaofeng's death was due to Chu Qingcheng. He Xiaofeng must have found the other's secret and was silenced. "Fenger, I will find your killer and rescue the precious Chu Qingcheng." Mountain Lord vowed. The enchanting empress said, "Since the secret is out, does Zhuofan's threat still stand?" "Yes." Giving her a sidelong glance, Mountain Lord continued, "So long as it isn't an open secret, the threat will be real. No one will spread this secret, not us, not the ones taking Chu Qingcheng. We need to strike first and get Chu Qingcheng with us at once." The enchanting empress nodded. "Are we to condone his defiant actions? Isn't it just land? He can cause trouble for the next sacred mountain's disciples, so long as he keeps his mouth shut." Mountain Lord sneered. "The 7 sacred mountains' joint action stems from the fear of those old fools due to the event a century ago, that a strong expert will emerge that would topple their power. They want to regulate all resources so that not even an ungodly genius of the likes of the 10 ancient sovereigns can reach sainthood without our say-so." The enchanting empress nodded, her heart sinking. "It's just like the kid said, the sacred mountains want to crush everyone. Now there's no hope for anyone else to rise to the top." Zhuofan was back on Devil Mountain, where he met nervous guards in the main hall. They bowed and reported their worries. "Steward Zhua, you're here. What's wrong? Why are you all here?" Zhua Fan asked. "Steward Zhua, our assault on the two emperors has been going smoothly, but the two have taken to the battlefield themselves, and none of you can take them on. We've received urgent reports requesting the demonic emperor's assistance. But the demonic emperor has been in seclusion, and we don't know what to do. We will suffer heavy losses if this goes on. We can't take more of the unstoppable emperor's attacks." "Oh, I see." Zhua Fan raised an eyebrow. "Don't worry. I will go see the demonic emperor now to ask him to fight." Zhua Fan walked among their gratifying words towards the stone door. "Demonic emperor, sir. I have something to report." Rumble. The heavy door opened and Zhua Fan entered. He saw a ghastly Zhao Chun with bloodlust in his eyes. "Where are my ingredients?" The demonic emperor's breath was ragged. Zhua Fan smiled. "Demonic emperor, sir, I can no longer provide them." "Why?" "The Falcon Emperor and Wraith Emperor have taken to the battlefield, blocking us from taking more prisoners." Bam! Zhao Chun slammed the stone bed, breaking it. "Outrageous. Those bastards are ruining everything. I'll get them for this." There are reports from the front lines requesting the demonic emperor's help to eliminate them. Also, with the 8 emperors' incredible cultivation, they are sure to be a great boost. Zhua Fan snickered. Zhao Chun's eyes shone with malice and madness. "Ha ha ha. Using them, I'll reach sainthood." Zhao Chun vanished, leaving Zhua Fan alone. Li Jingtian had taken Chu Qingqing to the Luo clan, then came here. Coming over to Zhua Fan, "Steward Zhua, what did you have him cultivate in? Why is he so erratic, like a lunatic?" "It's his heart that's going wild. It has nothing to do with the cultivation method." Zhua Fan sighed and snickered. "With the demonic emperor on the move, the rabid dogs will bite each other, just like back then with Devil Mountain. Ha ha. Steward Zhua, when do we move?" Li Jingtian was eager for some action. The brothers can't take it anymore. They want to fight. After the Falcon Emperor stepped out, they all wanted a piece of the action against 8 emperors. "Your order is what's keeping the Luo clan's army from marching on the Wraith Emperor and Falcon Emperor's lands and taking them." "You're quite impulsive." Zhua Fan glared. "Luo clan's experts are to battle the sacred mountains. Before that, none can ever come out in the open. With the sacred mountains helping the 8 emperors, it will be even harder for us to take the sacred domain's lower areas." Chapter 1256, Dreadful Pressure. Chapter 1256, Dreadful Pressure. Proofreader, Papatonks. Boom. The sound of explosions echoed continuously, and the screeching of eagles pierced the ears as ghostly shadows howled. The Falcon Emperor and Wraith Emperor's sudden attack had not only thwarted the demonic emperor's army, but even regained 5 cities. All of this was because the Wraith Emperor had abandoned his own territory and joined forces with the Falcon Emperor. Although they both had few forces after the last great battle, their combined strength was still not to be underestimated, especially with 2 8 emperors leading the charge. Listening to the miserable cries and screams, the Falcon Emperor, riding atop a divine eagle, led the way and turned to Wraith Emperor with a friendly gesture. "Brother Wraith, it's rare for you to put aside your territory and come to help me this time. I'm extremely grateful." "No need to thank me, Brother Falcon. We can't hold on our own, so we joined forces to fight back. After we take demonic emperor's lands, we can just divide them. A few losses are nothing." With a gray cloud around him, the Wraith Emperor laughed. The Falcon Emperor nodded. "Brother Wraith has remarkable insight. With the 2 of us working together, even the demonic emperor can't stop us. This time, I've also informed the others, so we won't get caught off guard like before. It was Zhua Fan who made a mess of things last time. Once we take the demonic emperor's lands, we need to deal with him to save us the trouble later." The Wraith Emperor's bloodthirst spiked. The Falcon Emperor nodded with a wicked smile. The kid was too cunning to be left by the demonic emperor's side. Bam. The 2 stepped over the corpses to arrive before a city gate. A mere wave blasted it to pieces. The 2 had smug looks that marked the fall of the demonic emperor's 6th city. Quite fast. Ha ha ha. Whoosh. An evil aura swept them just then. The army rushing into the city felt their hearts seizing and their blood ran cold. The Wraith Emperor frowned. Is this the demonic emperor's aura? It can't be. We saw him only recently. How can his aura be so evil and powerful? The Falcon Emperor was puzzled. The dreaded pressure grew stronger as a familiar and eerie voice echoed. Ha ha ha, Falcon Emperor, Wraith Emperor, you two codgers dare mess with my plans? Surrender now. It's really the demonic emperor. The two of them shouted in shock, looking at the creepy human wrapped in black energy, feeling a sense of urgency and madness from him. How did he end up like this? Zhao Chen struck first, devil palm. Rustle. Countless black palms fell down like meteorites, blasting the ground with booming explosions. Their joint forces howled before exploding in a shower of gore and blood, littering the place in their ghastly remains. Falcon's flight. Wraithful sky. The two emperors didn't take chances, fighting back. Countless eagle cries and shadows filled the skies. Hundreds of them rushed at the gigantic palms amidst the explosions. However, their arts broke apart on contact. The emperors shook under the backlash, flung back. They spat blood and looked at Zhao Chun and saw dementia. This can't be. They gasped in disbelief. He overpowered us like nothing. Why is he so strong? What happened? The swirling black aura around Zhao Chun grew more intense. He couldn't contain his glee. Ha ha ha, decrepit relics. Now you know my strength. I am your executioner today. Die. Whoosh. Zhao Chen charged. Demonic Emperor, don't get cocky. You think you can take both of us? Humph, you don't have it in you. You think yourself your master, Zhuo Yifan? They sneered, for surrender was still far off. They made signs and two golden auras shot from them. A 500-meter golden falcon and a 100-meter tall golden wraith appeared in the air. Their imperial marks. Zhao Chen had a wicked grin. My master was the head of the 8 emperors, and now I shall follow in his footsteps, even surpassing him. From now on, people shall call demonic emperor Zhao Chen the strongest, not Zhuo Yifan. Ha ha whoosh. Zhao Chen shook, and a black dragon flickering in golden lights shot into the sky. The black dragon was different from before, with a sinister darkness that sent shivers by just looking at it. Why is his imperial mark different? It looks darker and makes me uneasy. The Falcon Emperor was worried. The Wraith Emperor said, we don't have time for that. No matter how much it changed, we still need to destroy his imperial mark. The Wraith Emperor made a sign, and his Wraith imperial mark roared toward the black dragon. The Falcon Emperor gritted his teeth, making the golden falcon imperial mark follow. Bam! As the 3 imperial marks clashed, the deafening explosion shook the world. The Falcon Emperor and Wraith Emperor felt their hearts shuddering and coughed blood. How is this possible? They looked on with fear. How could both of our imperial marks be overpowered? They were also sporting heavy wounds. Looking up, their imperial marks were flung back. Zhao Chen had them shocked to the core. They were all emperors, but this gap was unheard of. Is he on the level of Zhuo Yifan? Pa! They suddenly shook and felt their hearts seized. Their imperial marks flew back, and were now coiled by a black tail, coming from Zhao Chen's dragon. Demonic Emperor, what are you doing? The Falcon Emperor panicked. The imperial mark was their soul. While powerful, it was also prone to being damaged. They were uneasy seeing them captured. They had their imperial marks struggle, but the two couldn't break free. The 2 emperors shivered in fear. The black dragon roared, coiling around the 2 imperial marks tighter. Its sinister eyes shone with desire and malice, just like its owner. What, you ask? Hee hee. Zhao Chen wiped his drool. Relics like you dared to stop me from getting my ingredients, so now you'll take their place. As part of the 8 emperors, your power will be a great boon to mine. Ha ha ha. From his crazed eyes, the 2 felt terror. Falcon Emperor cried out, Demonic Emperor, don't be rash. You started this while we're just defending. Let's just talk. The Sacred Mountains sent word that they would replace some of the 8 emperors. Causing trouble now will get you replaced. Sacred Mountains? Zhao Chen raised an eyebrow. They're nothing. When I finish my training, they're finished. They think they can replace me? Humph. Soon I'll have those fools kneel before me. They're utter garbage. Ha ha ha. Chapter 1257. Insanity. Chapter 1257. Insanity. Proofreader. Papatonks. Madness. The two couldn't believe their ears. The demonic emperor was insufferably arrogant. On top of being raving mad, the two made more signs, scattered falcon feathers. Wraith flight. The two muttered, then the golden eagle burst into a dazzling radiance, sending countless feathers in every direction. The wraith howled as gray images shot from its mouth. This made the two imperial marks to shrink, fading out. As the emperors looked for an escape, Zhao Qin sneered, "Humph! You found the wrong person to try those petty tricks on." Devouring demonic dragon. He made quick signs with his hands, and the black dragon turned into a black mist, swallowing all the feathers and the gray images. Ugh! The emperors froze and winced. Their hope of fleeing dashed as they watched the black energy swirling and caging them. The two were grave. Zhao Qin cackled, "Falcon Emperor, Wraith Emperor, you're beneath me. Just give up already and feed my cultivation. It's your honor to be a part of my rise to the sovereign stage. Ha ha ha." Underworld. Zhao Qin shouted. A torrent of black mist surged, swallowing the sky. The two emperors shivered under the oppressive blackness. Is this? Why do I feel so weak and in pain? He's tampering with our marks. The Wraith Emperor cursed, "Demonic Emperor, what the hell are you doing to our imperial marks?" Zhao Qin shrugged. "Nothing much, just taking its power. Once I finish, they will dissipate and you along with them." Hi. What? The emperors were terrified. They kept making signs with trembling hands in an attempt to break their marks free, to no avail as their strength waned. Zhao Qin grew stronger. They had only one fate, to be sucked dry. The two plopped on the ground in convulsions as life was drained from their bodies. Zhao Qin felt his own strength surging with a manic grin, relishing in the moment with closed eyes. Sovereign cultivation methods are out of this world. I just need to keep cultivating and I can dominate sacred domain. Ha ha. Shriek. A sudden cry came out of nowhere as a massive brown figure appeared. It slammed into the black mist and made a huge hole in it. Zhao Qin shuddered, with the brown figure turning out to be a huge eagle. It was now holding in its talons the wraith and the golden eagle. Well done, my precious. The two emperors felt they could stand again. With the Falcon Emperor praising the creature, the Wraith Emperor lit up. "Is that your spirit animal? It came right on time. Let's just get our marks and flee." The Falcon Emperor made a sign, and the Wraith Emperor copied him. Whoosh. The marks turned into a golden light and entered their bodies, making them breathe easier. Zhao Qin grimaced, seeing the brown eagle fleeing with killing intent. "Damn pigeon, you're dead." Devil palm. Boom. A gigantic palm 100 meters big, shot for the eagle. It tried dodging, but it was too late. The palm grabbed it, and the dark energy swirled around it. The emperors watched with terror as it turned to ashes. What the hell is the demonic emperor practicing? It's horrible. Zhao Qin recalled the dragon into his body and snickered. "The beast helped you live longer, but not much, humph." Zhao Qin shot for the two. The emperors ran away on the spot, not caring about anything. Is the demonic emperor insane? How did he degenerate so much? A whistle came from behind and a palm caught up to them. "Ha ha ha. You still think you can escape me with that speed? Fools, ha ha ha. Why is he so fast? He's like another person." Falcon Emperor cried out. Wraith Emperor shot a palm at Falcon Emperor's shoulder. "Sorry, Brother Falcon. I will remember you. I will avenge you later." Bam! The Falcon Emperor stumbled under the attack and Zhao Qin grabbed his neck. "Curse you, Wraith Emperor, using me as bait. You'll get yours." The Falcon Emperor cursed as the Wraith Emperor got further away. The Wraith Emperor was looking grim, blocking out his voice as he fled. "Brother Falcon, sorry. It's better for one to live than both of us dying. Your sacrifice won't be in vain." Whoosh! The Wraith Emperor vanished in the distance. The Falcon Emperor's face shook. Zhao Qin grabbed his neck tighter. "Is this your friendship? I'm touched. Hi. Demonic Emperor, don't kill me. I'll do anything, please." Whoosh! The Falcon Emperor was swallowed by the black mist. Minutes later, it dissipated and Falcon Emperor was turned into ashes. "Humph, do anything? Do you take me for a fool to believe the 8 emperors?" Ha ha ha. The Demonic Emperor cackled. The Falcon Emperor had a tragic end while the Wraith Emperor fled with heavy wounds. The demonic emperor's forces saw their lord's victory and rallied as they cheered, however. The demonic emperor waved his hand and sucked hundreds of people into the black mist, turning them to ashes. The people were frozen in fear. The demonic emperor snapped at them, "Useless fools, fight! Get me more lands and more prisoners. It's either them or you who will become my ingredients, understand?" Why yes, demonic emperor. The forces shivered as they marched on. The previous excitement was gone, now replaced by terror. They used to fight for the demonic emperor to make a name for themselves. Now they only fought to stay away from his insatiable appetite. They had to work hard to bring him more prey, so they wouldn't end up being preyed on. Instead, Zhao Chen sneered as he roared. Zhao Fan watched from afar, shaking his head. Li Jingtian chuckled. "Steward Zhua, the demonic emperor is getting foolish. He even talks about using people to cultivate." "He isn't foolish, he's mad." Zhua Fan's eyes shone. Demon transformation art has made his strength spike, making him forget restraint. He will do anything to get more power. When heaven wants you dead, he first drives you insane until you lose all reason. The sacred mountains will pay him a visit soon. We just have to wait for his fall. Li Jingtian nodded. "Any news from the dragons?" Zhua Fan asked. Li Jingtian bowed. "Steward Zhua, still nothing. You're impatient as well?" "No, it's that I still need to be patient and lay low." Zhua Fan left.